Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm back, finally. After a week of being stuck babysitting, I'm back. Maybe. Hopefully. Possibly. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, hi. So, I was thinking about continuing Dragon Age today, but as I said on Twitter, if you follow me there, it's probably going to take more than, 4 streams to get through Dragon Age. So, I might just wait till, school's back in session and I can stream regularly again, because this is the last week of school, and after this week, I'm going to be babysitting every single day of my life, except when they're on camping trips. So, I will be streaming only sporadically during the summer. So, I don't really want to get into something that's that, going to take that much time, as Dragon Age probably will. I mean, I haven't played it, obviously, other than just, the couple minutes I did last week, but, I'm guessing it's probably going to take quite a while to get through it, and I don't want to, start it now, and then, have you guys wait, a month or something to see the next part, and then, another month or whatever to see the next part. So, that's why I'm thinking I'm just going to do something that's nice and chill this week, doesn't require too much concentration, and, just try to figure out how I'm going to get through the summer of nothing but babysitting. Because I'd rather be streaming, obviously. But anyway, so I started this weekend? Last weekend? Last weekend, yeah. Last weekend. I was doing all dating sims last weekend. This is technically in Otome, but whatever. I did play it once off stream. Well, twice, technically. And I did my favorite character, because I wasn't sure if I was going to like the game enough to play it again, so I did my favorite character. Now I'm going to try to do all the characters. All the other ones. Because they are all hot, but, karma's karma. But anyway, so I did start this last weekend. And we got through a little bit of the Rod path, because according to Steam, you should do Rod's path first. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Yay. So, yeah. I don't know. So far, it doesn't seem to be going very well. He kind of hates me. So, that's cool. So, I guess we'll see if we can, thaw him out any this time. I don't remember exactly where we left off. I know that, I was supposedly masquerading as a maid at the palace, where I'm actually supposed to live, but nobody remembers me except people that are cursed and witches and fairies. So Rod and one of the guards, Fritz, are the only ones that remember me because they're both cursed. So, yeah, I'm there trying to figure out how to break my curse, because I supposedly have to do 3 good deeds to break my curse, and I decided that Rod was going to be the one to help me, because he hates me more than anybody else in the entire game. Actually, most people in the game hate me. My character basically spent her life getting told, don't go near people, people all suck. I mean, it's true, but still. So now, because of that, the people aren't really a big fan of hers. But then again, she's not a big fan of them either. So, But the main thing is that she heard someone call her dead mom a witch, and the witches are supposedly the ones that cursed everybody, etc., etc. So that was an interesting little thing there, which would also kind of possibly explain why everybody hates her so much, I guess. But, yeah. So I guess we should just get into it, right? Because I'm probably going to, get interrupted early, like I always do. But, yeah, I don't remember exactly where we were. I was pretending to be a maid, trying to get help from my, stepbrother, who hates me. Trying to get him to help me figure out how to do 3 good deeds to break my curse. And he doesn't even want to break his own curse. He has, the mermaid's curse. So, kind of like trading his voice for some legs or something? I don't know. But we haven't really gotten much into his curse other than finding out that he has no interest in breaking it. So, another reason why he really probably wouldn't want to help me. I mean, he doesn't want to break his curse, and he hates me. And he doesn't want me to break my curse, because according to him, everybody's happier now that nobody remembers who I am, and I'm no longer the princess, and him and his sister are going to be the fake royalty now, because their mom's the fake queen. So, he doesn't want me to be back as a princess. He doesn't want me to break my curse. So, I'm going to try to get him to help me break my curse. And in return, offer to help him break his, even though he doesn't want to break it. It seems like it's a wonderful foundation for a relationship, right? So, yeah, good luck to us. Anyway, I don't remember exactly where we were, so let's just get into it. The last choice, let me look here. I usually save it when there's a choice. The last choice was, why do you want me out of the palace? Or why do you not want to break your curse? I thought that the right one would have been the second one, but I didn't get the right choice indicator. So you kind of have to save scum in this game. I hate doing that, but you kind of have to. Because, if you get one choice wrong, you get a bad ending. At least that's the way it works with karma. So, this is where we are. The last choice I made was asking him why he wants me out of the palace, even though he told me 900 times that he hates me. So it should be kind of obvious, but I guess I'm a little dumb. I don't know. So I guess we'll just get into it, right? And see what happens. I'm pretending to be a maid. Him and Fritz, the guard, are the only ones that remember me. And everybody hates me, and nobody wants me to be princess again, because they like their lives better without me. So it's all going well. It's all going really well. Guess let's just get into it. So, it's been more than a week since Rod and I returned to the Marchen. He has been avoiding me ever since that day. Well, isn't he always? He hates me, man. Not that we have much cause to be around each other nowadays. I'm constantly on my feet preparing for Emmeline's ball. Oh yeah, my stepsister, who's now the fake princess, is supposed to have a ball so she can find somebody to marry or something, and she doesn't want to. She was crying about it and shit. So, whatever. Not a fan of hers, obviously. My character hates her. I just kind of think she's way too perky and happy. Perky and happy people are weird. I don't like them. Alright, so anyway. I know. Alright, so I've been preparing for this ball that she doesn't even want to do. Even though my dad, who doesn't even remember me, wants her to do that. So she can find a mate when I think she's got a crush on Fritz or something. Who's one of the love interests, by the way. But, yeah. So my dad, who doesn't remember me, wants her to have this ball so she can get married. Which, as I said last time, doesn't make much sense because she's a girl. Nobody cares what she does because, technically she shouldn't count at all in royalty. But I guess in this game you do. I guess. Whatever. Anyway, so yeah. That's what's been going on there. I guess. I'm turning down a little bit because the music's really loud in my ears. So, this is ridiculous. That's the doll who's actually the witch that cursed me. But she's a good witch. Actually, they were all good witches until the lead witch decided to have a meltdown about everybody hating witches because of Grimm's fairy tales and decided to curse people. And then there's a big war, and my mom died, and now everybody hates witches. And this is Delora, who's one of the witches who are still good, who didn't get corrupted during the war and stuff. And she's also a doll. She was my doll, who then turned real and cursed me, and made everybody forget that I was the princess and all that. In case you missed the beginning of the story. That's what that is about. So, better to be busy than bored, princess, she says. I stop for a moment to better balance the pile of fabrics that I'm carrying. One of the maids has ordered me to bring this to a designated room so that it can be sorted out. I'm being reduced to fetching and carrying, and I have made no progress in accomplishing my first good deed. I doubt that simply following orders from the other maids will help me get my first good deed. I feel a shuffling in my pocket and then notice Delora peeking her porcelain face out. Better to obey rather than disobey, at least. You're not going to get a good deed by being stubborn. Anyway, you've got to put yourself out there a bit more, princess. You can't just do whatever is convenient for you. That's not good. Delora has been no help at all. Wait, I recognize this place. Isn't this where your room is? I stop in front of the door to my old bedroom. Ever since I came here, I've been ignoring this room, not wanting to see what the king did to it during my absence. Do you not want to go in? Why should I? It's not as if it's my room anymore. Oh, you're no fun. Aren't you curious about how it's changed? I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't. I guess a little peek would not hurt. I step into the room and close the door behind me. Okay. It's like stepping into the past. The room is exactly as I left it. It seems completely untouched. Okay. Moments later, Dolores standing before me in her human form. Looks like someone's been dusty in here. Strange, considering no one should remember who this room even belongs to. Fritz and Rod, remember? And they're both love interests who are cursed, by the way. I glance around, eyes wide. Everything looks the same. I put the fabrics that I'm carrying down on my bed and make my way to the shelf where my dolls are displayed. My eyes pause on a specific doll. This one was not here before. Dolores raises an eyebrow. Maybe you just don't remember that one because she wasn't very memorable? You do have a lot of dolls, after all. No, I know each of my dolls by name. This one is definitely new. She looks very similar to the dolls I saw at Viorica's shop. I quickly turn at the sound of the doorknob. My eyes move to Delora, but she's already turned into a doll and tucked herself into a corner of the shelf with the rest of my dolls. Emmeline stands in the doorway, eyeing me curiously. Nocturna, what are you doing in here? Or doing here? I made a mistake and thought I was supposed to bring these fabrics here. I hope she does not see through my lie. Emmeline shakes her head, smiling. It's not your fault, Nocturna. You're still getting used to the palace and its many rooms. I got lost here all the time when I first arrived, too. This room is interesting, though. Father expressly had ordered that it be kept clean, but otherwise undisturbed. Why? He doesn't remember me. What's that about? Yeah, exactly. Why would he say that? See, yeah, the only path I've done is the karma path, so this is all new to me. So I don't really know what to expect. But yeah, I will probably have to save scum, which I hate doing, but like I said, when I did the karma path, if you like miss one choice out of 30, you get the bad ending. Like really, really, really bad ending. Really, really bad. So now I've got to save scum. Alright, anyway, why would he say that? He won't say why, but apparently this room is very special to him. It may belong to someone he cherished. Really? First of all, her father never even hugged her or talked to her for months on end when her mom died. So it couldn't possibly be her, even if he could remember her. So yeah, this is a little bizarre. Does Daddy have another girlfriend or something? What's that about? Yeah. Yeah, that was the story earlier. When her mom died. Yeah, her mom was an evil, horrible person. But when her mom died, her father didn't even hug her and ignored her for months on end. Of course, now he doesn't remember her at all. So this is all very strange that this room is just the way it was, because nobody should remember her except for Rod and Fritz. Because they're both cursed. Or else fairies and witches, but Laura is a witch, and Parfait is the fairy who's been helping her, and she apparently had some key to the tunnels underneath the palace or something, which is a little bizarre. She gave it to Rod so he could sneak me out. That happened last time, so it's all a little strange. Cherished, what a joke. Still, I can't help but feel hope at her suggestion. I don't think Father would like either of us being here. We should leave soon. I only came here to put a ribbon on one of the dolls. One of the dolls? Yes, I put one of my dolls here. She walks past me and picks up the doll I did not recognize. I bought this. I know Emmeline always visited Viorica, but I did not think she liked dolls. She always preferred receiving and buying books, so why does she have this doll? Do you like dolls? Well, I mean, I don't mind them, but I don't usually buy them for myself, no. So why did you buy this one? Emmeline looks at the doll with a sad smile and shakes her head. I'm not sure. I bought it as a gift, I remember that much. I was going to give it to someone who liked dolls, someone I wanted to befriend. Huh. I don't know why, but it feels right to leave the doll here until I can remember whom I was meant to give her to. Yeah. Emmeline is silent for a moment before she turns to me with a bright smile. I knew you had delivery to make, but could you come with me to the palace entrance first? Mother is still busy talking with the cooks, so the fabrics can wait. I resist the urge to glare at her. She better not be dragging me around to do yet more errands. I'm expecting delivery and I might need your help. I thought so. I have no choice but to nod. Of course. Okay then. I begrudgingly follow Emmeline toward the entrance, and there I see the delivery carriage. A familiar person stands beside it. Viorica, who Rod was also acting really weird about. I don't know why. But when we went to the store, Rod was acting really weird and it didn't want to be around her. And when I asked him about it, he wouldn't give me an answer. Not that he'd give me an answer about anything, because he freaking hates me, but, you know, whatever. It's just odd that he was acting a little strange about this, around this chick, who's apparently marrying somebody named Decimond or something? I don't know. Anyway, Viorka. Emmeline pulls Viorka into a tight hug. I turn my attention away to glare at the number of boxes at the back of the carriage. I will no doubt have to help carry them inside. How are the preparations for the ball coming? Emmeline's smile seems forced at first, but then eases into something softer. It's going well, I suppose. How about the wedding? Decimond and I have finalized the date. It'll be 2 days after your ball. I can't wait to see you in your wedding dress. These two always talk so much when they get together. I ignore their chatter as I walk up to the carriage to observe the boxes piled inside. What is in the boxes? What's in the box? Oh! Viorka reaches out to grab one. She hands it to me. I'm helping with the ball decorations. I came by with part of the order today. Part of it? Careful, it's a bit heavy. I take the box from her hands and nearly stumble. This is heavy. Emmeline should have made the male servants do this. Queen Ophelia placed quite a large order. I brought the more fragile decorations first. Oh, the glass baubles and the vases? I grit my teeth as I shift the box in my arms in an attempt to make it easier to hold. I thought you worked at a toy shop. Yes, but we also have aisles dedicated specifically to party decorations. What kind of toy shop is that? Nocturna, will you be alright? I feel annoyance simmer within me. I'm obviously not alright. Emily reaches out to help me with the box, but she's too late. I've only taken one step forward and the box slides and I stumble. I manage to cradle it in my arms, but its weight is too much for me. Before I hit the ground, I feel strong arms around my waist, pulling me back upright. The box is taken from me. Okay, so is it Fritz or Rod? I'm guessing Fritz? But it's supposed to be the Rod path, and Fritz is a lot nicer to me than Rod. And I like Fritz better too, but anyway. Yeah, Rod is probably my least favorite, but according to Steam, you should do Rod's path first. But I ignored that advice and just did Karma's path because Karma's my favorite. But anyway, who is it? Who's it gonna be? It's Rod. Sure. My heart and mind are racing, and for a moment I cannot comprehend what just happened. Are you alright? He's hoping I say no. He's hoping I'm going to fall over and die. This boy hates me. It's gonna be true love. Rod? I glance aside and I'm shocked to see Rod standing there. The expression on his face gives nothing away, but with our close distance I can see some flicker of emotion in his bright eyes. Concern? I am... And Emmeline says, Nocturna, I'm so sorry, are you okay? Rod pushes me and I stumble forward, almost tripping on the ground. He raises an eyebrow at me. Know your limits, Nocturna. So he helped me just to tell me, you know, you're a weakling. Well, yeah, but you bitched at me for not helping her, so what do you want me to do, boy? I glare at him as anger begins to bubble up in my chest. Shit. Now I have to make a choice. And, like I said, yeah, Rod's my least favorite, but I still don't want to get the crappy ending. There are walkthroughs for this, but there's also a right choice indicator. So if it doesn't show up, I just have to go back and reload, I guess. Which is why I said about save scumming. But it doesn't show up for like at least 4 sentences or so. Like 4 clicks or whatever. I don't remember. I glanced briefly at the walkover just to look at the choices I had already made to see if I had gotten any wrong because I hadn't paid attention to the first couple. And I saw a couple of the ones after it, but I honestly don't remember what it said. Now, logic says that if I'm supposed to be pretending to be a maid, I should not do the first one, right? But at the same time, when I thought before that I should stay in the shop with his sister, that ended up being the wrong choice. So, I don't know. Save scumming incoming. Guess we'll stay silent for now. And we're gonna have to watch to see if the right choice thing pops up. I clench my fists and take a deep breath to try and calm myself. I will not stoop to his level. He's the one being cruel here, not me. Hey, I did the right one. You shouldn't have stubbornly tried to carry something that's too heavy for you. I will not take responsibility if you get hurt. I seriously want to smack him. He bitches at me if I don't do everything I'm told and act like a good little maid. But then, when I'm doing what I'm told, he bitches at me for that. Oh my god. This boy... Is he the first choice because he's the most annoying? And they want you to just get him out of the way first? He's seriously just such a jerk all the time. So he won't take responsibility if I get hurt, but he'll bitch at me if I don't do everything I'm told. Whatever. Rod, you shouldn't be angry with her for trying to help me. It was my fault for giving her something so heavy. Uh-huh. And this is the girl that he acts squirrely around, too. Viorica, what are you doing here? Rod's voice is still cold. Viorica looks startled by his tone. I only came to deliver some of the decorations for the ball. And you thought Emily and her maid could carry these things on their own? Rod, this is not her fault. I'm the one who chose to bring Nocturna with me. Underestimate the size of the delivery. Viorica was just delivering the supplies. At least she admits her mistakes. I never thought Rod would be so stubborn. Really? Rod's been nothing but a jerk this entire time. Where have you been, babe? Emmeline's expression softens as she looks at her brother. She looks sad. Rod ignores her and picks up the box that I had been carrying. He begins to walk away before he suddenly stops and glances back at me. If you're pretending to be the prince, why are you carrying anything? Princes don't do that. Maybe it's because you're just a baker's kid. You're not actually the prince. And you're just pretending to be. Because my dad somehow idiotically invited a baker to his ball and then married her. But anyway. Yeah. Come on. I thought I was supposed to stay with your sister. Make up your mind. Oh my god, he's so annoying. I mean, I'm supposed to be falling in love with this guy, and all he does is freaking talk all patronizing and condescending and insulting, and just, he's a jerk all around. Go away, stupid text messages I don't care about. Alright, anyway. Rod? We're going to call some servants to carry these boxes in. He turns around and begins to walk away. I am Emmeline's personal maid, not his. That's what I just said. I swear, I haven't done this path before. I'm just saying what comes to mind, and apparently it's what pops up. I glance at Emmeline, who nods her head. I really am so sorry. Thank you for helping my brother, Nocturna. I curtsy ever so slightly before running after Rod. Rod, wait. He picks up his pace as if trying to lose me. I turn the corner. He's the one who just told me to come on. Oh my god, this man. He's so freaking annoying. It's like he's 15 or something. Alright, anyway. I turn the corner and barely stop myself before running right into Rod's back. What now? Why are you so angry at me today? I've barely even spoken to you. Your mere presence is enough to darken my mood. Wow. This is love, I tell ya. I glare at him and cross my arms. Funny, you call me cruel, but right now you were worse than I ever was. I don't need someone who hasn't even managed a single good deed to lecture me. What good deeds has he done, man? I've tried very hard to resist the urge to slap him. I swear, I've not done this path. I'm just saying what comes to mind. And then my character ends up saying it anyway. I guess I have more in common with my character than I thought. Oh, gosh. You were supposed to help me get a good deed. As I said before, I never agreed to this. I still refuse to help you. Rod starts walking again, and I hurry after him. I cannot help but recall how cold he was with Viorica earlier. I thought they were friends, but he treated her like this at the toy shop, too. Why are you so angry with Viorica earlier? No reason. I raise an eyebrow, and Rod quickly answers the question. Then you were cold for no reason. You've such a princely disposition? Rod frowns, but has no rebuttal for my words. Yeah, because I'm right. You're kind of a jerk face. You must be generally cold and unfriendly. Excuse me? That would explain why you treated Viorica as you did. I thought that you two were childhood friends. Viorica was always closer with Emmeline than with me. We may have been friendly once, but we've since become distant. Distant? It's none of your business. I pause as we pass by my door, remembering that I left both the fabrics and Delora inside, and make my way towards the door and open it. What are you doing? None of your business. Enjoyed your field trip? I frown when I see her sitting on my bed in human form. What would you have done if it wasn't me? I switches of a sense for these things. Delora? Rod slowly enters the room. And then his rabbit says, "It's nice to see you here, Lady Delora." Nice to see you too, little Sebby. Why are you here? Delora shrugs as she inspects her nails. I thought I would help the princess here since someone doesn't seem very willing. Burn. Rod furrows his eyebrows at her. I didn't... Yes, I know. You didn't sign up for this. But do you really think you have a choice, Rod? Delora looks at Rod pointedly. Do you know the consequences if this fails? Rod looks away, expression conflicted. Consequences? What are you talking about? Consequences for not helping with my curse? Rod sighs heavily before turning back to Delora. He does not pay attention to me. Wait, so we still don't know how he is supposed to break his curse. Is it some weird BS where he can only break his curse by helping somebody else break their curse or something? It's been so long since I've seen The Little Mermaid. I remember that she gave away her singing voice so that she could stay human and have legs because she was in love with some prince or something. That's all I remember about that in the damn Under the Sea song. But yeah, that's about it. I don't remember much else beyond that. Sighs heavily before turning back to the Lord. Does not pay much attention to me. I am not the right person for this. It doesn't matter what you think. The princess thought you were, so suck it up and do your job. It's his job now? Rod is silent for a few moments before he finally faces me, looking resigned. I will help you then, but don't expect me to change my opinions of you. I shrug at him. It's not like I was expecting you to in the first place. Delora grins with clear triumph. Good talk. Rod sighs. In order to achieve your good deeds, you're going to need to mend what you broke before. I feel I already know what he's going to say. My sister has always wanted to be your friend, so you must do just that. Show her kindness, and you may be able to get your first good deed through her. Show her kindness, huh? Right. Delora decides to stay in my room for the time being, saying that she believes Rod will be able to help me for now. Later, I make my way to the dining room with the fabrics and see Emmeline and Ophelia inside. Nocturna. Ah, I see you have the fabric, thank you. Ophelia takes the topmost sample of fabric and begins to inspect it as Emmeline walks up to me. Where's Rod? He returned to his studies. Oh, right, he has history lessons today, and I'm yet to finish my history homework, which is due tomorrow. As Emmeline muses aloud, I ponder what Rod told me earlier. I must become Emmeline's friend, but is that really a good deed? I hope Rod didn't send the servants out before he went back to his room. I wanted to tell him that Viorica and I had already called on guards to bring the boxes inside. Who, Fritz? I like him better than Rod. But he's like supposed to be the fourth path you're supposed to do? Out of 5? Maybe he decides to start his lessons earlier so that he can make you your dance lesson this evening. Dance lesson? Father wanted to hire the best dance instructor in NGL, but I honestly feel more comfortable with Rod teaching me. He's a good dancer, so Father has allowed it. That's a surprise. I didn't know Rod could dance. I used to prefer singing, but then Ophelia trails off. I know that she's talking about the fairy tale curse, but I do not expect her to divulge such information to a maid like myself. He decides to focus on his dancing for the past few months. Ophelia glances down at the fabrics and looks up and smiles at me. Nocturna, would you mind helping with this? I obediently walk over to the fabrics. Ophelia wants me to look through. They are apparently samples for the tablecloth that will be used during the ball. This is going to be a long day. Rod comes immediately to the throne room after his history lessons to start on his dance lessons with Emmeline. I'm only standing here because it's my responsibility as her personal maid to watch over her as she practices. I watch as she steps out of rhythm and Rod sighs at her. You're doing it wrong. That's the 10th time. Sorry. Again. They start from the beginning, and I'm unable to stifle my own sigh when Emmeline messes up the same step again. This would make the 11th time. I really am terrible at this. Would you rather have the royal dance instructor teach you? He has more experience teaching than I do. Oh no, I really do want you to teach me, Rod. I'm sorry that I'm such a slow learner. You were always good at everything. Singing, dancing, cooking. No, Prince Rod cooks. Yes, Rod does cook. He's very good at it. You didn't have to tell her that, Em. Does it really matter? I love bragging about how talented my little brother is. I see a tinge of pink in Rod's cheeks as he turns away. Is he embarrassed? Emmeline looks down at the floor, her smile smaller. I wish I was as talented as you, Rod. I'd always thought Emmeline was overly optimistic. She always seemed to bounce back with a smile no matter how many times I pushed her away. Now I cannot help but reconsider that thought. Still seeing her like this only irritates me. Pitying yourself will get you nowhere. Not everyone can be perfect at everything when they first start out. I remember when Mother gave me similar lessons. She was always such a harsh teacher, and she had hated when I showed weakness in front of her. She made me keep practicing until I had perfected whatever it was she wanted me to do. Failure was never an option. I never had time for self-pity. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, just try harder. Let failure inspire you to do better. Nocturna, that was... She's right, Rod. Instead of complaining I should be working harder, I let out an exasperated sigh and crossed my arms. You always look at your feet whenever you reach the underarm turn. Instead, focus on counting your steps and let Prince Rod lead you. Worrying too much on your next step is what puts you off rhythm. Emmeline stares at me. Can you dance, Nocturna? I can. Why? Wow, that's amazing. There's nothing amazing about me being able to dance. Her praise makes me embarrassed regardless. Maybe I could learn faster seeing someone else do the dance first. What are you talking about? Might be easier to copy the steps if I can have someone perform them first. She turns to me suddenly, eyes bright. Yeah, this isn't a setup or anything. Would you help me? I meant to assist Emmeline in any way that I can, but dancing with her brother? Surely a lily maid should not be doing this. Oh, jeez, and now I gotta figure out what's the right option again. Refuse or accept, refuse or accept, refuse or accept. I don't bloody freaking know. Again, I'm supposed to be doing everything Emmeline tells me, right? That's my job. So I should always go with whatever she tells me. It threw me off, though, when I thought I should stay with her, and then the right choice was to go outside and talk to him instead. So... Alright, so Rod says I should become friends with Emmeline. So I should be going along with whatever Emmeline wants then, right? Because Rod says that I should be friends with her, right? Ugh. I guess we'll accept. And then we gotta start counting to see if this is the right one. If we gotta save scum. Well, if I do accept, at least I can prove that I am a better dancer than Rod. Besides, I'm supposed to be listening to Emmeline no matter how absurd her requests are. That I just said. If that is what you want. Really? Emmeline rushes up to me and takes my hand in hers. Thank you, Nocturne. I thought I might be awkward request, but I'm so happy you've agreed to this. I turn to look at Rod, who's glowering at me. Okay, I don't see the right choice indicator. I'm not dancing with her. She might step on my feet. Emmeline gives me a disapproving look. Okay, I haven't seen the right choice indicator, guys. So apparently Do you see why this is so impossible? He says that I should listen to everything she says and I should be friends with her. But then when I decided to stay in the store with her, that was the wrong choice and I should have left her and went and talked to him. Now this time, I'm trying to listen to her and do what she says, and it's apparently the wrong choice. What the hell, game? How are you supposed to figure this out without a walkthrough? It's so ridiculous. I honestly want you to save scum. So I guess I have to go back and do the opposite of what I thought I should be doing. No. Oh, I hate that when it tries to overwrite instead of just load. I guess I'm supposed to disobey her and him and not try to do what she wants and not try to be friends with her, even though he told me I should listen to everything she says and then be friends with her. But apparently now I'm supposed to refuse. It bloody makes no damn sense. It makes no damn sense. It wouldn't be a big deal if it wasn't for the fact that I know that one wrong choice gets you the bad ending. Guess I should just embrace the bad ending at this point. Fine, I guess we'll refuse. Even though that's the opposite of everything he told me to do. Even if I do agree, I doubt Rod would even want to dance with me. You cannot learn how to dance by watching someone. You have to practice the steps yourself. But if you need a break, you can just say so, Em. Not really. I find it easier to learn through visuals. Sorry for making you uncomfortable, Nocturne. Let's just continue our practice, Rod. Emmeline smiles at me, but it's obvious that she looks more disheartened now. Rod looks at his sister before shaking his head. He turns to walk toward me and holds out his hand. Would you dance with me? What? What? Rod leans close to me and speaks in a low voice. Play along. It's just for Emily. Oh my god, that took for fucking ever to show up. I thought it was like 4 clicks. That was like 13 clicks. How are you supposed to know how to do this without a walkthrough? Seriously. I'm about ready to call up the damn walkthrough because this is ridiculous. See, now I have no clue what's even going on. So bloody confused. Trying to watch for indicators instead of paying attention to the story. Would you help me? I meant to assist Emily in any way we can with dancing with her brother. Surely Lily Maid should not be doing this. Even if I do agree, I doubt Rod would even want to dance with me. You cannot learn how to dance by watching someone. You have to practice the steps yourself. But if you need a break, you can just say so, Em. No, really, I find it easier to learn through visuals. Sorry for making you uncomfortable. Nocturne, let's just continue our practice, Rod. Emmeline smiles at me, but it's obvious that she looks more disheartened now. Rod looks at his sister before shaking his head. He turns to walk toward me. He holds out his hand. Would you dance with me? What? Oh. What the hell? So the right choice is to let him... What? Okay, so it's wrong if I would have accepted, but it's right if I wait around for Emmeline to get upset enough for him to choose to dance with me. What? Arlene switched to me and speaks a low voice. Play along. This is just for Emmeline. He's actually curious about your dancing, princess. I'm surprised when Sebby suddenly whispers to me. I can tell it's Sebby by the change of the pitch and voice. Okay. This is so bloody confusing. I don't even know how you're ever supposed to know how to do this without a walkthrough. Because it took forever for that to show up. I was to the point where I'm like, okay, so neither choice is right? Because it took so damn long for that to show up. Ugh. Anyway. Oops. Oops, sorry, Rod. Rod glares at Sebby before looking at me again. Well, I'm hearing noises again. Rawr. I shift my gaze to Emmeline, who is practically beaming. I sigh and take Rod's hand. I know Emmeline does not like treating me as a maid, but this is a little too much. Fine, just this once. And we get another close-up. I put my hand on his shoulder, and he places his hand on the small of my back. Rod looks at me, but quickly averts his gaze. Something wrong? I didn't think I would ever have to dance with you, is all. Neither did I. Rod looks at me again. This time he has an uncomfortable scowl on his face. He's not the only uncomfortable one here. We both start dancing. I mentally start counting the steps. It's been a long time since I last danced with anyone, but the steps come to me naturally. The dance is rather simple. While Rod and I move stiffly, I couldn't help notice his careful footwork. I realized that Rod really is a pretty decent dancer. Of course, I would never openly admit that. When we stop, I hear Emmeline clapping her hands as she looks at the both of us in awe. You really are a good dancer. Thank you so much for showing me the steps. Now I know for sure what to do during that part. I just shrug at her before stepping back into the corner. Emmeline takes her position in front of Rod once more. This time she's a bright smile on her face. Can't believe something as simple as that has made her so happy. At the end of the day, Emmeline has managed to do the steps correctly. She tells me many times how grateful she is for the help. After practice, I return to my room and retire to bed. I think about how happy Emmeline was. How can such small things make a person so happy? And flashback time. You stepped out of rhythm again, Nocturna. But Mother, this is really hard. A princess never complains. You must perfect this waltz by tomorrow, otherwise I will not allow you to play with your dolls for the day. But if you have time for objections, you have time to push yourself harder. Now, once again, from the top. Okay. The following days are uneventful. Emmeline continues her dance lessons with Rod. Her steps are still far from perfect, but I can tell that she has improved since my demonstration with Rod. Meanwhile, Rod still chooses to ignore me most of the time, though I have noticed that he is less cold than usual. At least he does not snap at me for no good reason anymore. Though Dolores is no longer assisting me, she insists on staying in my room more often. She says that there is something important she wants to investigate, and I cannot even guess what it might be. I prefer not having her around anyway. Her constant chattering makes it difficult to focus on anything. Right now, I'm still trying to figure out how I can achieve my first good deed. Almost 3 months have passed since I was first cursed, but I've yet to complete my first good deed. These are my thoughts as I head back to my sleeping quarters after dinner that night. Emmeline excused me long ago, insisting that I go on to my own room before she went to hers. I'm walking down the hallway when I notice Rod heading down a familiar path. I follow after him. Are you going to the Marchen? Rod jumps and turns around. The surprise on his face quickly fades into annoyance. Don't do that again. And no, not today. Since I came here, I found out that Rod occasionally sneaks out of the palace at night through the secret passageway to go to the Marchen. Even now, I'm still confused as to why he goes there. He said before that he had given up on breaking his curse, which makes me wonder why he still visits. It also makes me wonder why he would refuse to break his curse in the first place. Yeah? Is he okay being the way that he is, or is his curse just really difficult to break? Why were you cursed, Rod? I'm not answering that question. Why? I cannot help you break your curse if you refuse to tell me anything. I told you before that I did not need your help. But I chose you as my partner. You help me and I help you. It's highly likely that breaking Rod's curse will also count for a good deed. Rod scowls at me and crosses his arms. I'm afraid that this isn't how this works at all. The sound of footsteps keeps me from coming back with a retort. We both turn to see Sir Alcaster approaching us. Prince Rod, good evening. Good evening, Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster turns to me and raises an eyebrow. Shouldn't you be attending to Princess Emmeline? Rod silences me with a look. He moves to stand in front of me, shielding me from Sir Alcaster's gaze. We were just about to go to her. Let's go, Nocturna. Rod strides away, and I quickly curtsy to Sir Alcaster before following after Rod. I can still feel Sir Alcaster's eyes on my back as I walk away. I try my best to suppress a shudder. Rod and I walk through the hallway in silence. We both stop in our tracks when we hear the clattering of silverware. I look around and realize that the sound has come from behind a set of doors that's slightly open. The dining hall? Oh no. That's Emmeline's voice. We do not see Emmeline when we enter the room, but there is a dizzying array of cutlery set out on the table. Emmeline. Emmeline surprises us both by crawling out from beneath the table. She flashes us an embarrassed smile as she gets to her feet, holding several forks and knives in her hands. What are you doing here? You should be getting ready for bed. Sorry. I eye the silverware on the table. I thought I could practice before I sleep today. It has already been an incredibly long day for her, and she's still doing this. I watch as Emmeline puts the cutlery back onto the table in the wrong places. You need to rest, Em. I will after I practice the placement one last time. She smiles at him before returning to the table. I don't know why a person would need so much cutlery. 1 fork, 1 spoon, and 1 knife should be more than enough for any meal. And all these glasses, if I recall correctly, this one's for water, this one's for red wine, and this one is for white wine? Ugh. Oh my goodness, I don't even know. And now it's like it takes 7.5 years for the right choice indicator to show up. I honestly do not know. I don't know. And it takes so damn long for the indicator to show up. Apparently, I don't know. I don't bloody know. Guess we'll go with this one first. And then wait an hour to see if it's the right thing. She cannot remember something so basic. Wrong. What? I point at each of the glasses as I name them in turn. Champagne, sherry, dessert, wine, and juice. It's basic etiquette to know all of them. Emmeline looks down at the glasses, flustered. You don't have to be so blunt, Nocturna. Oh, God. She's right, though. It's my fault for always forgetting. You know so much about etiquette, too. You're really incredible, Nocturna. You make a better noble woman than I do. Even if I told her I was a noble, it's not as if she would believe me. I just read a lot about all these things. You read and know enough to put them into practice. That's amazing. Especially since you haven't even been with us so long, right, Rod? Rod shrugs. He does not, much to my surprise, disagree. Perhaps you should be my teacher, Nocturne. I can learn so quickly from you. Emmeline quickly straightens out the cutlery. Now that I think about it, I've come to realize that Emmeline is much more than she appeared to be. It's probably because I'm forced to spend so much time with her as her maid. She's different, she's flawed, and not as conceited and more humble than I'd originally thought. Maybe I should try lending her a hand. Apparently this isn't the right choice either! Oh my god! This is freaking ridiculous. But, like I said, it takes so damn long now for the indicator to show up. I don't even know. I guess we'll give her the correct answers this time and see how that works. The flute is for champagne, the other is for sherry. Oh, right. But there are two more. The other is for juice and the other glass... I'm still It's basically the same thing. Alright. The other is for juice and the other glass is for dessert wine. The dessert wine glass will only be used during the dessert course. And the juice glass is only used when juice is being served as a course. Otherwise, it's placed next to the water goblet. I see. I see Rod staring at me out of the corner of his eyes. His lips twitch before he turns back to his sister. It looked like he was about to smile. This is so ridiculous, man. Every single thing I pick is apparently not the right thing. I really should get out the walkover at this point. The walkthrough, because this is ridiculous. Then what are these for? Emmeline points out the group of forks in front of her. You use those every day, Your Highness. You should know the answer. Emmeline points at them. She rattles off names. Dinner fork, fish fork, salad? Correct. You know so much about etiquette, too. You're really incredible, Nocturne. You make a better noble woman than I do. So different. I'm glad the other one was the wrong choice and this is the right choice, even though it's practically the same damn thing. Even if I told her I was a noble, it's not as if she would believe me. I just read a lot about these things. You read and know enough to put them into practice? That's amazing. Especially since you haven't even been with us so long, right, Rod? Rod shrugs. He's not much my surprise to disagree. Perhaps you should be my teacher, Nocturne. I can learn so quickly from you. Emmeline quickly straightens out the cutlery. Now that I think about it, I've come to realize that Emmeline is much more than she appeared to be. It's probably because I'm forced to spend much time with her as her maid. She's different, she's flawed, and not as conceited and more humble than I'd originally thought. Maybe I should try lending her a hand. I may not be one of your tutors, but if you need help with your lessons, just ask me and I'll do what I can for you. Nocturna. I glance at Rod, who's once again wearing that expression of surprise. I shift my attention to Emmeline once again. You only have 1 month left to prepare, and as your personal maid, I feel it my responsibility to help you in whatever ways I can. Nocturna. Emmeline wipes her eyes with the back of her hand, and that's when there's something glistening on her cheeks. Is she crying? You're extremely kind, Nocturna. Thank you, I definitely take you up on that offer. I'm still looking at Emmeline when I catch a faint glow coming from the pendant on my chest. What just happened? Oh, what a pretty necklace you have, Nocturna. Thank you. Anyway, for now, I think both of us would benefit from some sleep. After escorting Emmeline back to her room, I walk into the hallway in a daze. What was that light? Seems like you actually managed to obtain your first good deed. I did not know he was still here. I look down at my pendant, astonished at what I see. A piece of glass slipper? I gingerly touch the new piece that's hanging next to my existing glass slipper pendant. It's real. You're not too bad after all. Did he just compliment me? What? Rod turns away. Nothing. He walks away, leaving me alone with my thoughts. Chapter 5, Secrets. Okay, some girl apparently says, "Good morning, Your Highness. Would you like to play with us?" You want to play with me? Some boy says, "Yeah, come play with us. We'll all have lots of fun." Well, please, just for a little while. Maybe I can... And Mother says, "Nocturna, what are you doing out in here in front of the gates?" Mother. And girl says, "Good morning, Your Majesty." And the boy says, "We were just wondering if the princess wants to come play with us." She says, "No, Princess Nocturna does not want to play with you." "But Mother, Enough idle chatter. We must go. It's almost time for your dance lessons." "But... Nocturna, do not make me repeat myself." "Yes, Mother." It's still dawn when I wake up. As much as I want to continue sleeping, I have no choice but to get up and prepare for the day. Last thing I need is an annoying lecture from the head maid. I've almost become accustomed to waking up this early, even if I do not enjoy it. As soon as my preparations are made, I begin to walk away toward Emmeline's room, should she wake early. I'm about halfway there when I hear familiar voices. Standing far ahead of me are Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros. "Are you sure this is going to work?" "Have a little faith in me, my friend." "Friends? We are not friends." Sir Alcaster narrows his eyes and then turns abruptly to look at me. "Ah, Miss Nocturna, was it?" Sir Mithros, Sir Alcaster. "Have you been eavesdropping, child?" He has no reason to be angry at me. If they were talking about something confidential, they should not have been openly talking in the hallway. "I'm on my way to Princess Emmeline's room, sir." "That's why I'm here." I coolly look at Sir Alcaster, who looks like he's about to pop a vein. I cannot help but feel satisfied at his reaction. In just a few steps, he's suddenly looming over me. I have never seen Sir Alcaster look so angry before. And then Rod, off camera, says, "What is going on?" Rod is now walking toward us with a scowl on his face. Sir Alcaster notices this and quickly steps back. "There is just a little misunderstanding, Your Highness." Rod glances at me, his eyes narrowing. Great, I'm sure he's going to blame me for this too, even though I did nothing. Another close-up. Much to my surprise, Rod puts himself between me and Sir Alcaster. "Are you alright, Nocturna?" "Since when do you give a crap, dude?" He's worried about me. See, it's like every time I try to make a comment, my character ends up saying the same thing. I slowly nod. Rod turns back to Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros. "If you don't have any business with Nocturna, I will be taking her with me. Emmeline is already waiting for her." Sir Alcaster stares at me for a few moments before bowing down to Rod. "Of course, Your Highness." "Thank you." Rod turns to me again, his expression solemn. "Shall we?" He walks up before waiting for my reply. I look back at Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithros one last time before chasing after him. Jeez, it's only been like an hour and my throat's already getting really sore. Oh, boy. I don't know if I'm going to make it 4 hours, man. The both of us spend the next few minutes walking in silence. Rod has not said a thing since my encounter with Sir Mithros and Sir Alcaster. "Are you okay?" "What?" He already asked me that before. Is he really that worried? Oh my god. I don't even know where we're saving stuff now. I'm seriously tempted to get out the damn, walkthrough. Because everything I say seems to be wrong. And I hate sitting there and having to count, like, for 5 minutes until it shows up. Ugh. He already asked me that before. Is he really that worried? Guess we'll go with the second one and then wait an hour to see if it's the right choice. I am not. I've never been treated with such disrespect by Sir Alcaster. He's needlessly hostile towards me. Rod scoffs. Before he was forced to show you respect because you are a princess. Now because you're a commoner, he speaks to you as bluntly as he speaks to everyone else. That does not excuse his rude behavior. Rod shrugs. He's a lot like someone else that I know. He gives me a pointed look. He always finds a way to scold me somehow. I scowl at him before turning away. You said that Emmeline was waiting for me, and I did not expect her to be up so early. Where is she? See, I can't even pay attention because I'm too busy watching for the stupid indicator. I lied. What? He lied to help me out of that situation? Why? Why are you helping me? Because while you're here, you're my responsibility. I may loathe the role, but I will still uphold it. Besides, you don't need a reason to help someone in need. Help someone in need. I remember Parfait and Delora telling me before that being good often involves helping others who are in need. Now that I've helped you, I'll be taking my leave now. I have fencing lessons to attend. Rod starts to walk off, but then he stops and turns back to me. Don't get yourself into more trouble. I won't be there all the time to save you. I glare at him and cross my arms. I can't even pay attention to what's being said because I'm too busy watching for the indicator. And I still don't see it, but it takes so damn long to show up, I honestly don't bloody know. That's why I'm about tempted to get out the walkthrough. So I guess we'll try I am fine this time. I'm surprised by the look on Rod's face at my response. His expression is soft, so unlike his usual scowl. Rod here is pretty worried about you, princess. Rod glares at Sebby, his cheeks tinged pink. Sebby chuckles. Sorry, Rod, your thoughts ring so loudly in your mind that I can't help but say them aloud. It's not the first time Sebby has told me about what Rod is thinking. I don't know. I think I'm about ready to get out the walkthrough, guys, because this is getting bloody fucking ridiculous. I don't even know where the hell it was. Got so much damn shit on here that I never even use. Cinderella phenomenon. Okay. Story. Walkthroughs. Oh, jeez. Guess we'll go back one. Here we go. I didn't want to have to do this, but this is bloody ridiculous. Nothing makes any sense. Like, literally, nothing makes any sense. So the next two are stay with him and you're not doing a very good job. Ugh. Okay, anyway. This is so ridiculous. It's like I try to follow the cues in the story, and it always ends up being the wrong damn thing. It's so ridiculous. How are you supposed to do this? It's like the game is designed to never, ever, 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 ever give you a good ending unless you follow a walkthrough. It's ridiculous. It takes away all player autonomy at all if it's so impossible to get the answers right and just one wrong answer screws you up. It's just so annoying. I mean, I like the story and stuff, but the way they do the choices is bloody freaking ridiculous. But anyway. Rod reaches out and pinches Sebby's face, a scowl returning. Ow, 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 I'm sorry, okay? But next time try not to think too loudly. You said that Emmeline was waiting for me. Did not expect her to be up so early. Where is she? I lied. What? He lied to help me out of that situation? Why? Why are you helping me? Because while you're here, my responsibility. I may loathe the role, but I will still uphold it. Besides, you don't need a reason to help someone in need. Help someone in need? I remember Parfait and Delora telling me before that being good often involves helping others who are in need. Now that I've helped you, I'll be taking my leave now. I have fencing lessons to attend to. Rod starts to walk off, but then stops and turns back to me. Don't get yourself into more trouble. I won't be there all the time to save you. I glare at him and cross my arms. I don't even remember what the next two were now. I'm so annoyed by this whole one wrong choice and you get the bad ending, but it's impossible to figure out the right choice is. I'm not some damsel in distress, Your Highness. I didn't need your help. Rod snorts before turning away from me and walking away. Later that day, I watch Emmeline finish her etiquette lessons. I can tell the teacher's impressed with her progress. Emmeline is able to correctly name all the glasses and cutlery. She's not so slow a learner. I'd come here earlier in the day to better teach Emmeline about proper dining etiquette. It turns out that my lesson was valuable. You've shown great improvement, Your Highness. Stop calling her that. She's not a real princess. I'm glad that you have been diligent with your studies. No doubt you'll be ready for the ball soon. Emmeline smiles, her cheeks turning pink. Thank you. I wouldn't have done it without the help of a friend. Emmeline glances at me briefly and smiles gently. I really owe her a lot. That's wonderful. I'm so glad you have such a dedicated friend, Your Highness. Friend? Is that really what I am to her? But princesses do not have maids as friends. A royal does not mingle with commoners, especially not with servants. Mother told me that before. Emmeline does not treat me as a maid, but she cannot possibly think of me as a friend. After the teacher gives Emmeline several books to study for the next lesson, she ends the lesson and excuses herself. I'm losing my voice, man. Emmeline approaches me and grasps my hands. Thank you so much, Nocturna. I wouldn't have passed without your help. All I did is repeat the things your teacher taught you. But you're different. I raised an eyebrow at her. Different? I tend to get nervous in my lessons. My teachers are strict and intimidating. I cave beneath the pressure. But with you, well, I feel more comfortable around you. It's probably because we're almost the same age and your lessons feel more casual. So thank you. I'm very grateful to you. She looks down at the ground shyly. I hope it's all right that we're friends. I furrow my eyebrows at her. Why would you even want to be friends with a maid? You're supposed to be making friends with the nobles, not the servants. Emmeline frowns and I can feel her deflate. She walks toward the window and sighs. I tried. They may not say anything, but I can feel them silently judging me. Why? Because you're a fake princess? But anyway, I wasn't born a princess. Told you. And I feel that they judge everything that I do. They think I smile too much, that I'm not regal enough. They feel that I'm too clumsy or too cheerful. Yeah? Definitely. Smile too much, definitely too cheerful. I agree with that. Well, Emmeline definitely does not act like a noble. I can't say I blame the nobles for being skeptical of her. Being with them suffocates me. I do my best to act like a princess, but the way they all look at me, it's as if they're waiting for me to make a mistake. Then they'll all have an excuse to jeer at me. Every girl dreams of becoming a princess, and yet this is not my dream. Well, then you should have told your mom not to screw around going to a royal ball when she's just a damn baker. Still not sure how that worked out. I really just miss being a normal girl. I miss my freedom. Good, tell your mom. Tell her to get the hell out. I look at her thoughtful. I think I can understand what Emmeline is feeling. Just like me, she was thrown into a world she was not ready to be a part of. Right now, we have no choice but to fit in. She never wanted my title in the first place, yet I accused her of stealing it. Have you told your mother how you feel? Emmeline shakes her head. No, not the king either. I don't want them to think that I'm ungrateful. That's why I'm trying my best to become accustomed to all this. I cross my arms. But you're not happy. I'm not. Everyone just assumes that I'm happy because I smile a lot. She barely opens up to anyone, yet she opened up to me. Had I been given the choice before I was cursed, I would never have listened to her. You should tell them how you feel rather than just keeping it to yourself. Otherwise, the stress will continue to accumulate on your shoulders. I wish I could be more honest with them. I really do. I envy you for being able to speak your mind. She envies me? Emmeline takes a deep breath and sighs. The frown fades with the sigh and is quickly replaced by a fragile smile. I'm sorry for ranting to you like that. I must have bored you with my story. I used to get so annoyed with her, but now that I've seen this side of her, I suppose she's not as terrible as I'd first thought. Oh, I remember that Mother wanted to see me after my lessons today. Allow me to escort you to the queen, then. The fake queen. Thank you. Yeah. Days pass without any real conflict. I run into Sir Alcaster again in the hallways, but his eyes pass over me as if I'm something to be ignored. Delora, who had been ignoring me as she had been busy with other priorities, returned to the Marchand yesterday to discuss something important with Parfait. It's not as if she has been any help since she came here. She mostly stays in my room while I run around doing errands for Emmeline and taking on other chores as they are handed to me. Right now I'm headed to the palace gates as I hurry to meet Emmeline. She's going out to town to meet Viorica again, and I was told to meet her there. It's Fritz. The one who I like way better than Rod. Nocturna! I turn around to see Fritz walking in my direction. Ever since I told him to refer to me by my name, he has been stumbling over not just using my title. He's been stumbling over what? Over not using my title. I rarely see him, but when I do, we do not have much time to discuss anything. Can I help you with anything, Fritz? It's been a while. Have you managed to complete one of your good deeds? Days after I'd originally run into Fritz, I managed to have a quick conversation with him regarding my curse. It has been a long time since that conversation happened. Recently, I've barely seen Fritz. I hear rumors that he has been reassigned somewhere outside of the palace. I shoved my pendant and pointed the piece of the second glass slipper. I managed to get one several days ago. Nocturna, that's wonderful. I knew that you could get one. Only 2 more and I can break this curse. And Mithros is apparently off camera. Fritz, Miss Nocturna, I did not think that the 2 of you were acquainted. We both turn our heads at the same time when Mithros suddenly appears from around the corner, the usual smile on his lips. Sir Mithros. Fritz, I believe Sir Alcaster is looking for you. Now, isn't Alcaster Fritz's dad? Thought he was, right? Right, sorry. Nocturna. I must take my leave now. Of course. Fritz bows to Sir Mithros before walking off, leaving me alone with Sir Mithros. Mithros does not say anything, but continues to smile at me. His staring makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. Is there something on my face? Excuse me. I curtsy and start to walk off when Sir Mithros calls my name. Nocturna. Yes? I just wanted to thank you for your hard work and dedication to our princess. I look at him, puzzled by his sudden gratitude. Don't worry, everything will soon be remedied. Excuse me? My apologies, I did not mean to keep you. He completely ignores my question. He dips his head slightly before turning and walking away, the smile still on his face. Now see, I wouldn't have any clue what the hell he's talking about if I hadn't done Karma's path first. I suppose that's why Steam tells you to do this path first, but still. Anyway. I really don't know if my voice is going to last, guys. What was that all about? Rod and Emmeline are already waiting for me outside the carriage by the time I arrive at the palace gates. Rod has his arms crossed and looks at me, irritable. Well, isn't he always? His face is perpetually stuck in the... Do you see what I mean? I swear I've not done this before. I've not done this path before. I've only done Karma's. Anyway, his face is perpetually stuck in that scowl, it seems. You're late. My apologies. You're so grumpy, but you've been late many times before too, Rod. Rod just shrugs his shoulders as he turns and heads into the carriage. Emmeline sighs before looking at me. Shall we? Of course. I'm guessing there's going to be another choice soon. I honestly don't remember. I just glanced at it so quick. The 3 of us sit in silence as the carriage rolls toward the town. The knight assigned to guard duty is sitting out front with the driver, watching for any disturbances. Emmeline glances forlornly out one window, while Rod silently looks out the other as he rests his chin on the palm of his hand. I notice Emmeline pausing to glance at Rod every now and then, looking restless. Finally, she breaks the silence. Are you still mad that I asked you to come along to visit Viorica? You could have declined the invitation, Rod. And if you would only tell me what happened between the 2 of you, I'd do my best to remedy the situation. Rod notices me looking at him and scowls. He returns his moody gaze to the window. I have nothing to say, Em. But you used to be good friends with Viorica too, Rod, but then ever since you were... Emmeline stops herself, but I know that she's referring to his curse. After that day, you've kept your distance from her. Then, when you found out about the wedding, you became even colder toward her. Does he seriously like Derpy Girl? Ugh, that's just... Ugh. Even Viorica is worried about you, Rod. She worries that she might have offended you somehow. Emmeline... There's a hint of warning in his tone. Is it possible Viorica is related to Rod's curse, considering the timing? Emmeline opens her mouth again to say something, but then suddenly stops and returns to the window, her expression mirroring Rod's own gloom. We are all silent until we arrive at the toy shop. Emmeline, good to see you again, and you, too. Nocturna, was it? I nod in acknowledgement. Viorica nods politely at the knight, who stands guard at the shop door. It's just the 2 of you today. Emmeline and I both turned around, only to see that Rod has indeed vanished. Emmeline frowns, looking both bewildered and disappointed. He was right behind us. I'll go look for him. Thank you, Nocturna. Uh-huh. Just as I expected, Rod is leaning against the wall of an alley just outside the toy shop. Talk to him or stay with him. What's the freaking difference? Talk to him or stay with him. Stay with him and you're not doing a very good job. It's just going to save time. Yeah, it may be cheating, but it's going to save time. Because otherwise I'm going to have to read the whole damn thing, wait for the damn indicator, then go back and resave and blah, blah, blah. So it was stay with him, right? Yeah, stay with him and you're not doing a very good job. I can tell by Rod's stiff posture that anything I say to him will fall on deaf ears, so I move to stand next to him instead. I lean against the wall with him. But seriously, what's the difference between stay with him and talk with him? Shouldn't have said talk to him or say nothing. That would have made more sense. What are you doing? Following a walkthrough because this game's fucking impossible. Oh, yeah, what am I doing? Keeping you company? Rod raises an eyebrow at me. Since when have you even liked my company? Well, I'd rather be here than stay inside the toy shop and listen to Emmeline and Viorica talk. So you're not here to try and get me to talk? Well, it's not as if you would answer any of my questions. I've tried forcing you to talk and know how ineffective it is. But I'll be here if you do want to talk. Rod eyes me suspiciously. Since when did you start listening to others? When you're the personal mate of someone who enjoys talking, you learn to listen. Emily's been happier these past few months. I hate to admit it, but it seems to be because of you. Are you actually praising me? Rod looks away, his cheeks tinted pink. Think whatever you like. I do not know why, but for some reason I'm happy that Rod gave me a compliment. Waltz, who I also like better than... I think Waltz would probably be my second choice, but according to Steam, you're supposed to do his path last. So Waltz says, Princess Nocturna! Rod and I turn to the sound of the familiar voice. Waltz pauses in front of us with a bright smile. It's nice to see you again, Princess. Waltz, what are you doing here? Well, I was about to deliver a letter to the prince, but I guess that won't be necessary anymore. A letter? Is Lady Parfait asking for me? Not just you, she wants to see the princess as well. Me? It has been a while since I was last at the Marchen. Is Karma going to be there? Sorry, what? Something wrong? They need to discuss something important with the princess. Come to the Marchen tonight. It's night, but we're already here, so why not now? Waltz's eyes shift to our carriage. You're here with the Princess Emmeline, yes? You can't make her wait too long. What they need to discuss with you is complicated and will take some time to explain. The toy shop door opens and Emmeline stands in the doorway as she says her goodbyes to Viorica. Remember, tonight. These are Waltz's last words before he slips back into the crowd. But is Karma going to be there? That's the important thing. Emmeline's visit with Viorica was briefer than I thought it would be. Now, all of us are headed back to the palace. Rod has not uttered a word on our way back, and I can tell that this is making Emmeline agitated as she continues to keep glancing at Rod expectantly. If you have something to say, say it. Emmeline stares at me. You obviously want to say something to Prince Rod. The only way to get your answers is to ask him directly. Rod does not turn around, as if he does not hear me. Emmeline clasps her hands and sighs. Well, I glance at Rod as still persistently stares out the window, his eyes focused on nothing. He's pretending not to hear us. How immature. Well, he is 15, dude. Rod. Viorica was sad that you weren't there today. She was certain she stayed outside to avoid seeing her. What's going on with you? I'm not in the mood to answer your questions, Em. Emmeline grips the edges of her dress, her expression becoming more rigid. You've been keeping secrets from us ever since you were cursed. We don't even know why you were cursed or how to help you break it. Wait, the rest of the family doesn't know anything about the circumstances of Rod's curse? I had thought that he told them everything, but all they know is that he is cursed. We're a family. We're supposed to help each other through problems. Emmeline's hands are shaking as she gazes at her brother. They The carriage stops, and as soon as the servant opens the door, Emmeline quickly steps out and rushes back toward the palace. Rod watches her go quietly, though his eyebrows are furrowed and he looks guilty. I suddenly shake my head at him before running after Emmeline. Emmeline stands in the hallway with her hands to her chest. She breathes slowly in and out, as if she's on the verge of tears. When she notices me behind her, she turns away and wipes her eyes with the back of her hand. I'm sorry for storming off like that. I was just very frustrated at Rod. I said something I shouldn't have said back there. If anyone finds out about this, they won't. Your secret is safe with me. Why does she care if other people know that she and her brother had a fight? Emmeline flashes me a grateful smile before looking at the sky. One moment Rod is running down the hallway, the next he has stopped in front of us and is trying to catch his breath. I'm sorry. I'm sorry too, Rod, but right now I'd like to be alone. Of course. I'm sorry, Nocturna, but could you leave me for now? She does not even wait for my answer before walking away, leaving me alone with Rod. You made her cry, Rod. I'm fully aware of that. Why are you hiding your curse from your family? You wouldn't understand. I'm doing this to protect them. Protect them. Rod silently shakes his head. They wouldn't understand. Those are the last ominous words Rod speaks before rushing off, leaving me alone in the hall. What happened to him? The hallways are silent at this time of night, as most everyone in the palace prepares for bed. I'm now on my way to our meeting place. Rod told me earlier to wait for him here. I had thought that he would make me go to the Marsh End by myself after what transpired with Emmeline. God. But I was wrong. Emmeline was so upset today. I've never seen her like this before. I turned my thoughts back to the Marsh End and to what Waltz said earlier. I wonder what Parfait wants to talk with us about. I feel my heart beating erratically against my chest. Why do I feel like something bad is going to happen? I realize that I've been standing in the open for a while. Perhaps I should move. People might find my standing here suspicious. I start walking again. I'm surprised when I feel a hand close around my wrist and pull me into the darkness. I open my mouth, but a hand muffles my scream. Shh. Rod. Rod's gaze is icy. He speaks quietly, but I can feel the anger simmering underneath his words. What if someone saw you just standing there? Have you even thought about how they might get suspicious? His tone is so accusatory that for a moment I cannot find my voice. I'm actually losing my voice in real life. But then he is right. I should have been more careful. Sorry. Rod stares at me, surprised. What? Never thought I'd hear you apologize, especially to me. Oh, well, at least I know how to apologize, unlike you. And why would I ever have a reason to apologize to you? Because you've done nothing but treat me coldly, even when I've done nothing to personally attack you. Rod scowls at me, but does not say anything. Instead, he sighs and takes my hand, pulling me after him. What? Let's go before the guards see us. I have no energy to argue with Rod, so I allow him to pull me along. I'm sorry. What? He apologized to me? Don't make me repeat myself. I did not hear you clearly. If there's one thing I know about you, it's that you're not deaf. Of course I'm not. Shh, someone will hear you. I glare at Rod, but he does not respond. Princess, your hand is really warm. Rod freezes in place and glares at Sebi, who seems to be shrugging. Your thoughts are too loud, Rod. Through the dim lights, I can actually see a faint blush on Rod's cheeks. You are blushing. I am not. He lets go of my hand and starts to walk toward the secret passage with me trailing behind him. We look around to make sure no one is in sight before we both slip inside. I follow closely behind Rod. In silence, my eyes move upward to the little bunny plush hanging on his shoulder. Sebi, I've been wondering, have you ever talked with Rod's family as yourself? Rod suddenly stops and scowls over his shoulder at me. What? I'm asking Sebi, not you. No, I don't, Princess. Rod doesn't want me to talk with others since he thinks that I might say something unnecessary. So much for that. You still speak even when it is unnecessary. In the dim lighting of the tunnel, I think I can see a faint pink in Rod's cheeks, but it is probably a trick of the strange lighting. Rod is right. Sebi has blurted out his thoughts more than a number of times. So much for that. You still speak when it's not necessary. But yeah, I guess it's this one. You're not doing a very good job. Sebby sighs. How can I not when Rod here is thinking too loudly? It makes my head ache. You get headaches? That's not the point. The point is that when he thinks on something too long, his head becomes cloudy and really full, like it's going to explode. That's why I got to explain for him. He's not good at expressing his thoughts, so I... Rod cuts Sebby off before pinching his cheeks. Ow, ow, ow! Okay, I'll stop talking now. Rod sighs and continues walking. Rod, have you spoken with Emmeline since that earlier incident? I think I forgot to save for that choice, didn't I? Oh well. No. As much as I want to ask him again about his curse, I doubt that he will divulge anything right now. I decide to keep my thoughts to myself as we head for the Marchen. When we arrive at the Marchen, Parfait and Delora are there to welcome us. The others, however, are nowhere in sight. Where's Karma? I mean, that's right. I'm on Rod's path, not Karma. Ah, it's been a while, Princess. Thank you for bringing her here safely, Prince Rod. Where is everyone? They're all resting in their rooms now. It wasn't necessary that they be here for what Delora and I want to discuss with you. I'll be staying in the tavern, then. Rod is about to head for the tavern when Delora stops him. You don't have to leave. What we're going to say involves you, too, since you're staying at the palace as well. Rod looks at her curiously, but asks no questions. Parfait and Delora gesture over to the settee, whatever, where we all take our seats. There's something Rod and I must know. Because we're in the palace? I have a bad feeling about this. Before we start, I'd like to congratulate you on your first good deed, Princess. And I think it's time for me to get a snack, too. I think that'll help me keep from losing my voice. I don't know. What do you guys think? Oh, gosh. I have a cold, and I'm losing my voice. It's a good combination. And now I have to try to talk while eating. Delora told me all about it, and I can see the extra piece in your necklace as well. Parfait smiles at me, her eyes filled with pride. Her faith in me rekindles the dwindling confidence I had. If only you'd seen how happy Delora was when she announced it to us. You didn't have to go into the specifics, Parfait. Oh, are you embarrassed, Delora? She smiles at Delora teasingly before turning back to me. Anyway, now you can do it, Princess. Only 2 more to go, and you can break your curse. Yeah, keep up the good work, Princess, and you too, Rod. So what is it that you wanted to discuss with us? I conducted a little investigation while I was with Nocturna in the palace, and I found something important. Something important? Hearing noises again. I don't know if people are howling or what. I discovered that there's a witch in the palace. A witch? In the palace? I felt a tinge of magic while I was there. It was faint, but definitely there. I don't remember feeling it before when I was there as your doll, Princess. It seems that the witch is using a glamour to hide himself or herself from us. And glamour is a magic that only very experienced witches can cast, which means the witch we are dealing with is no ordinary witch. They have the potential to be very powerful. But what would a witch be doing in the palace in the first place? The witch could be after the king, but what? Parfait and Delora glance at each other, looking conflicted. It's Parfait who faces me first, her expression grave. I'm afraid there's some other possibility we must make you aware of, Princess. And in order for us to explain it, we must give you the truth. About dang time. Moving closer. The truth. I only enter silence. I shift my gaze to Rod, but he avoids my eyes. What is going on? Princess, it's very likely this witch in the palace is looking for you. What? I cast a glamour on you a long time ago so that you could remain hidden from magical eyes. I did protect you, but this witch in question can see through the spell I've cast on you. It's my belief that they are actively looking for you. I close my eyes and massage my temples, the temples of my head, as I feel a headache coming on. Wait, you said before that the witches want to see their curses unbroken. This sounds as if they have another motive altogether. What reasons could they have for trolling me? The Tenebrarum has been without a bearer for a long time, ever since the end of the war. A new bearer, however, will soon arise, and the crystal is ready to support them. Some of the witches, the wicked ones, want to make sure that the Tenebrarum continues to spread darkness, even with this new bearer in charge. Okay, but what does that have to do with me? Laura crosses her arms, her expression grim. The title of the bearer is passed down from one descendant to the next. Princess Celeste Tenebrarum bearer was the late Queen of Angiel, your mother. I feel my blood go cold. What? As you are the Queen's daughter, you're the next heir. Come your 18th birthday, you will inherit the title of Tenebrarum bearer. Mother? A witch? Impossible. Why would you spout such lies? I narrow my eyes at them, searching for some hint that they are lying to me. And some other commoner or something did call her mom a witch before, and she's just like, what? So she shouldn't be that shocked. Anyway, Delora and Parfait never turn their sad eyes away from me. Rod glances at me briefly before turning away, looking uncomfortable. Hildair, your mother, and I used to work together to maintain balance, but then the witch hunt drove her mad and turned her heart to ice. But she never used any magic. I would have known if she was a witch. It's possible that she did in the past, but then it seems she erased all your memories of her true identity. Delora is already able to assert that most of your memories of her have been snatched away. Hildair needed you to remain obedient so that when you finally did inherit her role as the bearer, you would continue to do as she wanted. My thoughts feel as if they are spinning endlessly on an axis. The real reason I cursed you was to see if you are truly capable of goodness, Princess. Hildair's influence clung to you even after her death, and we feared that you would continue her previous work. That Angiel might once again fall to darkness if you were not able to help the dark emotions in your heart. So then you cursed me because you were terrified of what I would do if I became the bearer as I was. My only answer is silence. Now I understand why the people hated me. It was because I'm my mother's daughter. I cannot help but reach out to touch the pendants on my necklace as a feeling of dread washes over me. We know that there is goodness in you, Princess. We only wanted you to realize it by breaking your curse. Parfait sighs, looking guilty. It was a selfish act on our part, I know. But we cannot risk another great war. They believed that I would have plunged the world into a war? I turned to Rod, who has yet to speak since the conversation started. Did you know about all this? Everyone knows the story of the Tenebrarum witch and her daughter. Everyone except for me. I glanced down at my hands, suddenly feeling numb. I'm a witch, and I'll become the Tenebrarum's next bearer. Just the thought of it makes me sick. I think back to my childhood. I can still recall the glares that everyone gave me when I was a child. They were scared of me because I was my mother's daughter. And what about the king? Did he never love me because I was the daughter of a witch? Well, dude, you're the one that married her and had a kid with her. Please take some of the blame for yourself, my buddy. But if that's the case, if my mother was so wicked, then why did the king marry her in the first place? Hildair threatened to kill the woman that he loved if he did not marry her. She threatened to kill Ophelia. Ophelia? So the king has loved Ophelia from the very beginning? How does a king even meet a baker, let alone fall in love with her? Seriously, dudes? I clenched my hands into tight fists. After your mother died, he was able to reunite with his true love, and since then he has treated Emmeline and Rod better than he ever treated me, even though I'm his daughter by blood. I once felt angry about this revelation, but instead I feel a dreary emptiness inside of me. A heavy feeling begins to settle in my chest, suffocating my heart. He never really loved me. Nocturna? Rod's voice snaps me out of my thoughts, and that's when I realize that a stray tear has made its way down my face. I quickly wipe it away with the back of my hand, angry at myself for showing weakness in front of them. You must be happy to see me like this. What? Your mother was made queen, and you and your sister became royals overnight. It's like something out of a fairy tale, isn't it? You thought you had the perfect life until I came back into it. I never asked for this to happen. I just wanted to... Rod suddenly moves his hand to Sebby's mouth, muffling whatever other words the plush was going to say for him. What is it that you want to say, Rod? It's nothing. I can assure you, however, that the power that comes with the crown has always been irrelevant to my family and I. So stop assuming that everyone around you is after your title or your riches. Did your time with my sister not teach you anything? I'm about to angrily retort when I suddenly stop, my heart sinking. I've already recognized that Emmeline is more complex than I thought she was, and she has also told me she never wanted to be a princess. My mother wouldn't have married the king if my father were still here. Delora looks between the two of us and sighs. And here I thought your relationship had improved. Now it seems like it's back to square one. I cross my arms and turn away, annoyed. Do you have anything else to add, Parfait? If not, I'd like to return to the palace. Princess, stay vigilant and be careful about who you trust. Trust? How do you know whom I trust? What makes you even think I trust you? The anger that I was expecting earlier suddenly rises to the surface. For all I know, Parfait and Delora could be feeding me lies, playing with me the way Delora did when she first cursed me. I don't expect you to believe what we've told you. Perhaps it was not yet the right time to reveal everything to you, but please, you need to be careful. I stand up and look at them, my arms now hanging limply at my sides. How am I meant to trust anyone when all of you have been lying to me this entire time? Nocturna. If you don't believe us, then try asking the king who Hildir truly is. I never even thought about asking the king about Mother. Rod, you should watch your back, too. It's possible that this witch in question could be plotting something against the royal family as well. They've been in the palace for a long time, after all. She looks at me, then at Rod, her expression somber. I won't be able to stay with you anymore. I had to pick up and leave a few days ago because I was certain he'd cut a trace of my magic. He probably already has. I understand. Anyway, Nocturne is right to return to the palace now. Someone may notice your absence if you're gone too much longer. You two should leave now. Let us know if you notice anything unusual. I will. We'll see you again soon, Princess. Remember, stay vigilant. Didn't even see Karma. Man. Rod and I leave the Martian in silence. Here in the secret tunnels, we are suffocated under even more silence, but still neither of us makes an effort to speak. I'm still stuck inside my own mind, sifting through my troubled thoughts. I cannot reconcile the fact that the wicked witch who led the witches during the war was my mother. I did not even realize how many people hated my mother until after she had passed, and they spoke of how cruel a queen she was. I never understood why, since she's always been the perfect person in my eyes. I never connected my mother with the Tenebrae bearer, but what Parfait and Delora just told me makes sense. Was I living a lie all those years? A lie that my mother crafted so that I remained cold and bitter even after she passed away? And Delora and Parfait say I'm meant to inherit the power of the Tenebrae from my mother. I do not want that burden. I almost bump into Rod's back when he suddenly stops walking. He turns around and looks at me with a serious expression. I cannot help but feel judged beneath the weight of that gaze. If you're going to tell me that you never wanted me as your partner because my mother was a witch, then I wasn't going to say that. What? I won't lie. The first time I saw you, I thought you were like your mother. You were cold, harsh, and selfish. I never wanted to have anything to do with you. That's why I was so against this partnership, but you've changed. Rod's expression softens. As you and Emma have grown closer, I've seen that you are not like your mother. She speaks fondly of you, and I can tell she really enjoys your company. That's why, even if I do not have plans to break my curse, I'll still do what I can to help you break yours. It's the least I can do as your partner. But here's the thing, though. He said they're all happier without me, and he's glad I'm no longer a princess, etc., etc. And he knows that if he breaks my curse, then I'm back to being who everybody remembers. So why would he? I stare at Rod in shock. This is the first time he's ever been so nice to me. Why are you staring at me like that? I'm only doing this because you're important to my sister. Rod turns away, his face beet red. Liar. Rod reaches up to pinch Stubby's face. Ow! I don't know. Compliment him, tell him. I'm sure I'm a better dancer than you. Once again, I forgot to save. And apparently it's not going to let me go back. Missed it. Who would have thought that you were actually capable of being nice? What, was that supposed to be a compliment? Yes, you're always so grumpy. I don't even think I've seen a genuine smile on your face before. I can say the same for you. Birds of a feather flock together, then. Rod stares at me dumbfounded. I couldn't help but smile a little at his expression. Do you really dislike the fact that we're so similar? Rod is still staring at me wide-eyed. You just smiled. I did not. Rod thinks your smile is pretty. I do not. You two really are the same. I take a deep breath to calm the erratic beating in my heart. Anyway, I still want to help you with your curse, Rod. Why do you refuse to break it? Rod stares down at his feet, expression melancholy. Because I cannot. Rod stops and shakes his head. He says nothing else, and I do not probe him anymore, especially not after seeing the distant look on his face. We walk through the corridor and back to our rooms after we say our goodbyes. I wonder what Rod was going to say. Mother, look, Eleanor got me this gift. Eleanor. She's my maid and my friend. Princesses don't make friends with their servants. But she's really nice. She even taught me how to braid my hair like... Those servants are only nice to you because you're the princess. They only pretend to be your friend so that they can have power over you. But Eleanor would never... What reason do I have to lie to you? When have I ever lied to you, little one? You've never lied to me. That is correct. Tomorrow I will remedy this situation. I'll hire a new maid. You're not to befriend this one, no matter what she says. But, Mother... Are you arguing with me, Nocturna? No, I'm sorry, Mother. Yeah. Can't imagine. Why is she so messed up after that, Mom? Alright. It has been days since Parfait and Delore revealed my mother's true identity and the inevitable responsibility I am to have on my shoulders once I turn 18. I've been trying to ask the king about Mother, but he's even busier these days than he was before, and it's impossible to find a single moment in the day to speak with him. The fact that I'm a maid makes it even harder to garner his attention. When I'm not on break, I continue to do my duty serving Emmeline. Right now, I'm accompanying her as she practices her walk and posture. Ophelia has been helping her, pointing out any mistakes she finds. What would Ophelia know? She's a baker. I know how hard this is, dear. I had to go through this training as well before I married the king. Okay, sure. Emmeline allows her shoulders to slouch as she lets out an exasperated sigh. I've always hated these lessons. I thought my posture was fine, supposedly to refine it, and yet all these lessons I've been doing is hurting my back. Oh, Emmeline, you'll get the hang of this. You just need to keep practicing. But, Mother, I've had the same lesson before. Why must I do it again? Because you slouch when you walk, and that is unbecoming of a princess. Emmeline scowls at her mother, and Ophelia's frown falls away as she bursts into laughter. Mother, you're not helping. The atmosphere in the room is far from heavy as Emmeline and her mother continue to conduct their lessons. It's almost the exact opposite of the lessons I had with Mother. Mother always got angry when I made even the smallest mistakes. I know this is hard, but as the crown princess, all eyes will be on you during the ball. The people there will judge any small mistakes you make, which is why you need to be in top form on that night. I know. Ophelia claps her hands. All right, now to start again. Emmeline grunts before heading to the far wall and straightening her back. She takes a deep breath, puts a book on her head, and begins to walk again. The book falls from her head on her third step. She sighs, moves back, and starts the process again. Neither of us break Emmeline's concentration by speaking. We stand idly by and watch as she tries time and time again. I'm surprised when Ophelia leans toward me and begins to whisper. Nocturna, I didn't mean to say this before, but I'm grateful that you're friends with my daughter. I look at Ophelia's smiling face with surprise. I never agreed to be her friend. You're not against the princess making friends with her servants. Why would I be? I actually wish more of the staff here wouldn't be so uptight, since I would love for Emmeline to be on good terms with the people who serve her. Besides, social status is never an obstacle to friendship. Ophelia shifts her gaze back to Emmeline, who is now picking up the book that has once again fallen from her head. No matter your occupation or status, a friend is always a friend. What world do you live in, babe? You've given Emmeline the courage she needs to face the many challenges she has ahead of her. In a way, you're like family, since you're always around us. Like family? Come what may, both family and friends are there for you and will accept you for who you are. Even before I was cursed, Emmeline was always trying to be my friend. That means she knew all along who my mother was and still wants to be my friend. Thought makes me remember what Parfait told me about Mother threatening to kill Ophelia if the king did not marry her. I turned to Ophelia, curious. Your Majesty, may I ask what you know about the late Queen's rule? Ophelia looks at me quizzically, so I quickly add a thoughtless lie. I was not in jail, and I have only heard stories. I just thought it was so hard to believe what with how peaceful things are in the palace right now. The kingdom was a dark place back then. People lived in fear under her rule. The king had no real power over Angiel. The witches had free reign over the kingdom. They cast the fairy tale curse incessantly and on a whim. We barely left our houses in fear of becoming cursed. Mother's reign was that terrible. The king still blames himself for the darkness that befell Angiel during that time. This is why he works day in and out to stabilize the country and to put smiles on everyone's faces. I remember long ago how he told me one of the reasons he would always continue to work hard for this kingdom was because he wanted to make a brighter tomorrow for his child. The child who he never even spoke to? Why would he give a damn? Seriously. Ophelia looks confused for a few moments, then brushes off awkwardness, the small chuckle, or his children, I guess it said, but still. He helps the family in his own way. Is it possible that he said that with me in mind, and Ophelia's slip-up? But then, maybe he was always referring to Emmeline and Rod. The kingdom's come a long way since then, hasn't it? There are still witches here and there, but most of them don't bother others. I pray that the peace we are experiencing right now will last. I see. Thank you for telling me. It's a bit of a dreary topic, but I'm happy to have helped. If you need anything else, please don't hesitate to call on me. Oh my. It's been less than 2 hours, and my throat's already going. And the fact that, like, nobody's chatting is really not helping me keep up my energy either. So, you know, it's kind of difficult. I know it may not be traditional protocol for a queen, but then I do not consider myself a typical queen. Yeah, because you're a baker. And I still don't know how the hell you ever met the king in the first place, let alone got into a relationship with him. But anyway, I try my best to listen to everyone here, regardless of what their title or name might be. I can only nod at her in response. Princess or maid, the way Ophelia has treated me has never changed. She has always treated me with kindness, regardless of who I am. I never saw it before because I was always so distant from everyone, but now I see that Ophelia treats everyone here with kindness, regardless of her social status. I was always frustrated by the servants when they compared Ophelia to Mother, saying she was superior. But now, I think I understand why they would make such comparisons. Emmeline dismisses me after my lessons, and I begin to head immediately back to my room. I've just turned a corner when I notice Sir Alcaster standing before me, scowling. Watch where you're going, child. I quickly avert my gaze, not wanting a confrontation. He always looks at me so strangely, almost like he can see into my mind, or is trying to. My apologies, Sir Alcaster. Sir Alcaster nods his head at me stiffly before walking off. Your pardon, Princess. I turn to stare after him, but he has already turned the corner. My blood becomes cold. Was that just a slip of the tongue? But how else could he know that I'm the princess? Is it possible that he's cursed? No, somehow that does not seem right. But if he does not have the fairy tale curse, could he be the witch that Delora warned me about? What reason would he have for unveiling his identity then, unless he just wants to intimidate me further? It occurs to me that Fritz still remembers who I am. Did he tell his father about me? Now I'm even more confused about whom I should trust. Nocturna. I jump when I hear Rod call me. His expression slowly creases with something that looks like worry. You're pale. Did something happen? Would he believe me if I told him? So I'm supposed to not tell him, explain, and then tell him off. Okay, sure. I guess I'm not telling you. Seriously, how are you supposed to know which choice is the right choice? Because most of these are just like, oh, so lying is the right choice. Okay, cool. It's seriously ridiculous. Why would you think that lying is going to get you the happy ending? That's kind of just silly. But sure game. Guess I'm not telling you. Okay, so I'm worried that Sir Alcaster might be a witch who wants to take out the royal family. So the right choice is to not tell Rod. Everybody following? That's apparently the right choice. Okay. Can't imagine how anybody could possibly ever, 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 ever get a happy ending without following a walkthrough. Nothing. I doubt he'd make any effort to trust what I have to say. He's always skeptical of me. Rod furrows his brows at me. You expect me to believe that? Okay, so letting him catch you lying is the right choice for the happy ending. Everybody following? Letting him catch you in a lie is the right choice for a happy ending. Y'all with me? Okay. I'm not even sure that I am right. I would not want to accuse anyone without any proof. If you want this partnership to work, you should learn to trust me. Do you even trust me? How is this the right choice? He's basically saying, oh, you're a liar and you don't trust me. But this is the right choice? Just how? Just how? Do you see why I said in my first one, you have to use a walkthrough for this? Because the right choices are usually the last thing you would pick if you wanted to get a happy ending. But apparently, lying to his face and having him not trust you is the right choice for the happy ending. How does that make any sense? How does it make any sense at all? Anyway, yeah, do you even trust me? I don't need to like someone in order to trust them. That makes no sense. So, are you going to tell me or not? All I can say for now is that we need to be careful around Sawyer Callister. He knows who I am. Rod stares at me for a few moments before finally nodding. Whatever you say. Anyway, I must leave now. I have a dance to practice for. Dance? But you already know how to dance. What do you have left to practice? Rod does not answer and only walks away. I decide to follow after him. Why'd you follow me? I shrug. I want to see you practice. To be honest, I want to see him dance. I already know that Emmeline is very clumsy when it comes to dancing, but outside of the one practice with Emmeline, I've never seen Rod dance. Emmeline always gloats on his behalf, but I have yet to witness Rod's supposed talent with my own eyes. Our dance together was so short I barely had any time to judge him. Except she actually made a comment about how he's a good dancer, but she didn't have any time to judge him. Oh, okay. I do not practice with an audience. Why? It's my preference. Rod is easily embarrassed. Rod grunts and pitches off one of Sebby's cheeks, glowering. Sorry. Rod reluctantly releases the bunny with a sigh. I noticed you've been talking more lately, Sebby. Oh, that's because Rod here has been saying things that contradict what he thinks or feels. Sebby makes a sound of defeat as Rod once again pinches one of his cheeks. He's fighting with a rabbit. A stuffed rabbit at that. Rod stares at me with wide eyes, and I stare back, beginning to panic. What is wrong? You smiled again. I put a hand in my mouth, flushing. I was smiling again? I never even noticed. It's a pretty smile, Princess, right, Rod? Rod quickly turns away, cheeks slightly pink. I need to practice now, so I'd appreciate you leaving. You know, you commanded me to leave. What a surprise. Emmeline said you were a really good dancer. I want to see it with my own eyes. Why, so you can judge me? And the bitchy one is the right one, right? The bitchy one? Let's check. Be a total bitch is the right answer, right? What? Okay, I'm looking at the wrong thing now. We're in chapter 6, right? So it's compliment him and then tell him. Okay, so I gotta go back now because I was looking at chapter 7. So now I gotta go back. Alright, so. Oh, I hate that you have to click load instead. Okay, so I was. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is the right one. So being a liar is not the right one. Oh my god. This is bloody fucking impossible. So we're in chapter 6, right? All these tell hims and don't tell hims. So I'm supposed to compliment him, then tell him, and then say that I'm a better dancer. Oh my god. Sorrel cast her nose on the princess. Do you think he's the witch Delora was talking about? I whisper the words to him, and he responds by raising his eyebrows, looking surprised. What makes you say that? This isn't just because of the standoffish way he acts, is it? You don't believe me. Rod sighs. I never said that I didn't. It's just that we can't just blindly accuse anyone without real proof. Rod stares at me for a few moments, then closes his eyes, his eyebrows slightly furrowed with thought. Sir Fitzgerald also remembers who you are. I don't want to be so suspicious of Fritz, but I don't think blindly trusting him would be right either, given these circumstances. You need to stay vigilant around him. If anything happens, you can come talk to me about it. You're worried about me? Rod averts his gaze from me. Of course I am. Wow, you're actually being honest. What? Rod glares at Zoe before pinching his cheek. Anyway, I must leave now. I have a dance to practice for. Dance? But you already know how to dance. What do you have left to practice? Rod does not answer and only walks away. I decide to follow after him. Why did you follow me? I shrug. I want to see you practice. To be honest, I want to see him dance. I already know that Emmeline's very clumsy when it comes to dancing, but outside of the one practice with Emmeline, I've never seen Rod dance. Emmeline always gloats on his behalf, but I have yet to witness Rod's supposed talent with my own eyes. Our dance together so short I barely had time to judge him, which is bullshit because she did judge him. But sure. I've not practiced with an audience. Why? It's my preference. Rod's easily embarrassed. So these ones are the same. That's why I'm kind of just going through them dismissively. Rod grunts and just want to his cheeks glowering. Sorry. Rod reluctantly responding to a sigh. Notice you've been talking more lately, Subby. That's because Rod's been saying things that contradict what he thinks or feels, so he makes a sound to his feet. Rod once again pinches his cheeks. Rod stares at me with wide eyes, stare back, beginning panic. What's wrong? You smiled again. I put a hand in my mouth, flushing. I smiled again and reversed. There's a pretty smile, right? Okay. I'm only rushing through it because it's all the same shit. Rod quickly turns away, cheek slightly pink. I need to practice now, so I'd appreciate you leaving. He did not even command me to leave. What a surprise. Emmeline said you were a really good dancer. I want to see it with my own eyes. Why? So you can judge me. Alright, so this is where I'm supposed to be bitchy, right? The bitchy one is the right one? Keep hitting that instead of that. Okay, so the bitchy one's the right one. So I'm sure I'm a better dancer than you. The scowl on Rod's face deepens. I almost smirk. Maybe he is reluctant to show me, but Rod is also full of pride. And once again, I forgot to freaking save it. Anyway, but Rod is also full of pride. He is more likely to show me if I pose a challenge. You didn't even answer the question. And are you underestimating my dancing? The others may have forgotten, but you still remember you do not. I'm a princess, and I was taught by the kingdom's best instructor. I say the words that with pride, and I notice Rod's lips twitch in response. It actually makes me feel accomplished to get under Rod's skin when he's usually the one getting under mine. Having the best instructors not automatically make you the best dancer. I'm pretty confident with my own skills. Say what you want, but I refuse to believe you without any proof. I still say that I'm a better dancer than you are. Rod steps forward and pulls me suddenly into his arms, taking me by surprise. He looks at me, clearly determined. Fine then. You'll have your proof. I'll make you swallow those words at this dance. We shall see. Rod starts leading the dance. He glides us into the imaginary rhythm of a waltz. Waltz? Can we call him? I like him better than Rod, too. Even without the music, I'm able to count the steps in my head as I follow his lead. This is different from that short dance we showed Emmeline. Rod's movements are graceful, his touch gentle, and he leads me to an underarm twirl. When I come to face him once again, I notice the gentle way he stares at me. The usual hardness of his expression is gone, melted into something relaxed. I find myself staring back at him, looking into his eyes. Perhaps Rod does have some gentleness to him. Our gaze does not break as he twirls me. You have beautiful eyes. What? Rod's eyes widen as soon as mine do. He abruptly lets go of my hands and steps back. I can only stare at him, my face warm. It wasn't me this time. That was more than just a thought, I swear. Rod says nothing, though his cheeks continue to darken with embarrassment. Oh my. Rod and I turn to look at Emmeline, who is hovering by the door. Excuse me. Rod quickly walks through the doorway and out into the hallway, leaving Emmeline and I alone in the room. What just happened? That was a wonderful dance, Nocturna. You were watching? I only just saw the last few minutes, but you know, the two of you really did look like a couple. It was sweet. Couple? Oh, you're blushing. I put a hand to my cheek and turn away with a scowl. I am not. I'm Besides, whatever just happened was embarrassing. Do you like Rod? I stare at her. Well, I like the other 4 better than him. Does that matter in this question? I miss Karma. I miss him so much. I do not. Also, you're forgetting that I'm a maid who could not be with the prince even if I wanted to. He's grumpy and cold. And even though we are not blood related, he is still my stepbrother. If only Emmeline realized how crazy her words were in light of this truth. Emmeline suddenly looks starry-eyed as she giggles at me. Love knows no boundaries, dear Nocturna. Besides, he seems to like you. Your brother hates me. Rod can be a contradiction sometimes. Sometimes he says the opposite of what he feels. It's only when you get to know him as well as I do that you realize what his truths are. I cannot help but think of Sebi, who always speaks Rod's thoughts aloud when they are contradictory. He was always so mean to Viorica when we were young. He would always bully her for being a crybaby, even though he cried far more often. But then I realized that he treated her more special than he did anyone else. Back then I knew that he liked her. I thought that one day the two of them might even grow to love each other, but... Emmeline lets out a long sigh as she directs her attention out the window. His attitude toward her has changed ever since he was cursed. Then they grew even more distant when Viorica found a lover. Is that the reason why you have been going to the toy shop with Prince Rod? Because you want to bring them back together? Emmeline nods. The 3 of us were best friends, 3 musketeers. It's not the same without Rod. I keep on asking him what's wrong, but he refuses to tell me. He's always been stubborn, but it's not like him to keep secrets. It's really frustrating because I have no idea what I should do to help him. I thought he was just being stubborn with me, but apparently no amount of prodding, even from his own family, will make him budge. Why is he being so difficult? I hope you do not mind me asking, but what do you know about his curse? Emmeline stares at me for a few moments before nodding. You're my friend Nocturna, and I know that I can confide in you. I know that sometimes I'm not trusting enough, but I think Emily is still far too trusting. We only know that he has the mermaid's curse. I've read the story so many times, hoping that I can figure out some way to break his curse. I think back and realized that I had actually read the beginning of The Little Mermaid a long time ago, but I did not have the chance to finish it because I was caught by Mother. The Little Mermaid is about a mermaid who trades her voice for legs, right? Yes, she does it so she can be with her prince. Rod's voice was taken away, but I'm sure that he was given something in exchange. I've heard that the curses are delivered from the original tales, but that they are twisted in some way to fit the format of a curse. I nod slowly, thoughtful. I have a strong feeling that Rod's curse is related to Viorica, but I cannot draw the connection. But still, Viorica might be the key to understanding his curse. If Rod will not divulge anything, the next best chance we have of understanding his curse might be going through Viorica. Chapter 7. Be careful what you wish for. Alright, so chapter 7. Let me scroll down so I don't look at the wrong one again. So don't tell him, explain the situation, and tell him off. Okay. Don't tell him, explain, and tell him off. Sure. Today is the first time that I am leaving the palace on a day off. Usually I choose to stay inside. Whereas the other servants always leave to go home, I never see any reason to leave since this has always been my home. And the Martian has never been home. But Karma's there. It's not as if I want to return, not after the conversation we all shared last night. Thus, I've spent most of my days asking questions about Mother's reign, inquiring when and where I can. The opinions do not surprise me. I was so scared of her. One wrong move and she'd have you thrown in prison. The townsfolk would always wait for her to pass by before leaving their houses. She was a tyrant. The kingdom is a better place now that she's gone. There's no reason for them to lie to me. The more I hear, the more my old life makes sense to me. I now know why the king never seemed to love Mother and why the people hated her. And the reason people looked at me with such fear. However, it's been months since I have been glared at in public. If there's one good thing that this curse did for me, it's that it allows me to travel around town without being noticed. I still can't believe I've only been on for 2 hours because my voice is going, man. It is really going. Anyway. As Viorica's shop comes into view, my thoughts shift to the reason I have left the palace in the first place. If Rod will not tell me anything, I will have to ask Viorica. She must be related in some way to his curse. I pause outside the door to the toy shop. With a deep breath, I push the door open. Welcome. The moment she sees me, her expression becomes confused. Oh, you're the princess's maid. Nocturna, wasn't it? I nodded her. You've never come in here alone before. What can I help you with? I wanted to ask you something. It's about Prince Rod. Prince Rod? Did something happen to him? Is he okay? He's fine. She sighs with relief. Then what is it you'd like to ask? I just wanted to know if you knew anything about Prince Rod's sudden muteness. Eureka stares at me for a few moments before she shakes her head. I only know that it happened soon after I met my fiancé, Desmond. What reason do you have for asking? Well, I try to think of a plausible explanation for this, and I immediately consider Emmeline. Eureka's Emmeline's best friend. Surely she'd be willing to help if she knew I was doing this for Emmeline. Prince Rod has been very quiet recently. Princess Emmeline has been worried sick about him, but he refuses to say anything, even to her. I've been trying to gather information that might be helpful in discerning the cause. I stare at her expectantly, hoping that my gaze holds nothing but determination. Finally, Viorica smiles. She's lucky to have a dedicated friend like you. I'm still not accustomed to the fact that Emmeline considers me a friend. Before she became the princess, I was her first confidant. We were like sisters. But now that she's living in the castle, we no longer have the luxury of spending so much time together. I worry about her constantly. Even around me, Em always tended to keep her problems to herself at first. She doesn't like to bother other people with them. It's hard not to agree. With the way Emmeline was always smiling before, I never thought she had any problems in her life. It was only recently that I scared that she was hiding all her loneliness and pain behind a smile. It's a relief that she's befriended someone who cares so much about her. I don't know if I can be much help, but I'll tell you what I know if it'll help Emmeline. To start with, I'm not exactly sure how everything changed, but it all happened so suddenly. All I know is that after the night I met Desmond, our relationship changed. At first he still smiled, but recently he's been avoiding me. What happened between the two of you the night that you met your fiancé? Nothing. Rod and I did not meet on that day. Prince Rod wasn't there? No, but soon after what happened that night, Rod grew distant. What happened? It was a stormy night, and I was heading back home. I took the route by the riverbank because it was the shortest route. It was foolish of me. The road was slippery and full of mud. I lost my footing and fell into the water. The waves were strong, and I was certain I was going to drown. I don't remember what happened in the darkness of that water, only that when I woke up, my head was in Desmond's lap. Okay. That was the first time we met, but not the last. He carried me home, and he came by every day as I was recovering. And then he came to visit me even after I'd recovered. I tried not to get my hopes up too much, because what could this nobleman see in me, a mere commoner? But I still ended up falling in love with him. You've no idea how happy I was when he said he loved me too. It was a dream come true. Of course, every girl dreams of marrying a prince. It was in all of the fairy tales that I read as a child. None of that was at all related to Rod. How did this relate to his curse? You said your relationship with Prince Rod changed after that night? What happened? Eureka sighs. I told Em and Rod about Desmond soon after the incident. Em was happy that the two of us had fallen in love, but Rod didn't say much of anything. That's when I noticed he started growing distant, and when I realized that he had also lost his voice. He still won't tell me anything, but I figured that her voice fades, but I know that she's referring to the curse. So Rod lost his voice shortly after Viorica met Desmond. The mermaid's curse must have something to do with the tale. The little mermaid traded her voice for legs so she'd be with her prince. But that night the only person who found their prince charming was Viorica. Rod's curse must have something to do with Desmond and Viorica. He became distant with her after finding out about Desmond. Why? Then there's the fact that he still spoke to Viorica. Even if he was distant, it was only when he found out about their wedding that he became so cold. I frown as I try to organize my thoughts. How did it get to be this late? I'm so sorry, Nocturna, but I have to close the shop now. Sorry for the story. I know it has nothing to do with Rod, but it was after that incident that he began to act strangely. I don't think I was much help, but I shake my head. You've told me what you could. Viorica walks me to the door, opening it so that the both of us can step out into the street together. I really hope that you're able to help Emmeline and Rod. I hope so too. Did you see Ophelia the other day? Some noblewoman said that. I catch sight of two noble women sitting on a bench together, not too far away from the toy shop. Okay, the dogs are carrying on. I need to go check to see if there's some annoyances happening, so I'll be right back. Nope, they're just barking over absolutely nothing, as always. As always. Okay. So there's some noble women talking about something or other. One of them saying, "Did you see Ophelia the other day?" They are referring to Ophelia without her title. How disrespectful. Maybe because she's a baker? Who would have thought a peasant like her could almost look like royalty? But her dress. As the queen, she had to be wearing silks rather than satin. I do not know why, but I bristle at their comments. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but the fact that they are speaking so bluntly in public means that they have little worry of being overheard. I'm still not sure what the king saw in her. Well, neither am I, dude. Well, you know what they say about ladies lacking natural beauty. Her talents must lie in other, more persuasive areas. What now? She must be very persuasive indeed if the king saw it worthwhile to marry her. As the two women laugh, I feel something hot burn in my stomach. Viorka takes in a sharp breath beside me. Since I became a maid in the palace, Ophelia has been nothing but kind to me, a mere servant. She has all the right to flaunt her status and title, yet she remains humble. I now know this is why everyone at the palace loves her. Common women like her can only keep a man's attention for so long. I start walking toward them without thinking. Nocturna, I wouldn't. You've no right to say those things about the queen. The two women are clearly surprised at my interruption. Both of them glare at me. And you have no right to eavesdrop on us. Eavesdropping, anyone could have heard you. Their mouths fall open. One of the women looks at me for a long time and then sneers suddenly as if something has occurred to her. I thought you looked familiar. You're the crown princess's personal maid. I see you always following her around when she's in town. This is none of your business, girl. Why do you care so much for our opinions? Ah, perhaps it's because the girl idolizes the queen, thinks she might also go from rags to riches? What? Oh, you do have a point. They stand and advance toward me. Do you want the prince for yourself, girl? If a commoner can become the queen, it's not too difficult to imagine yourself as a princess, is it? How foolish. You're better off dreaming smaller dreams, girl. They laugh, and the irritation in my chest blazes into full-on anger. Is this what Ophelia has been dealing with for the past year? She's being treated so cruelly when she has done nothing but love the king. Yeah, okay. And I also ridiculed her just like this. I force myself to look at the cruel woman as I move my hand to the pendant hanging around my neck. I was just as cruel as them. I barely feel Viorka's hand as she rested against my shoulder. Nocturna, let it go. Her Majesty wouldn't want you to do this. But I cannot just let these two men talk about Ophelia like this. I pull away from Viorka and stand firm. The queen has a good heart. She's far more noble than either of you could ever hope to be. I think back on the times I was cruel to her. Ophelia could have easily reprimanded me for my behavior. She had that right as my stepmother, yet... What? Since when? Yet, she has been nothing but kind to me. Ophelia never got angry at me, even despite my treatment toward her and her family. She has always treated others with kindness, even when they are cruel to her. Judging from the bitterness in your accusations, it seems like you are jealous of her. How pathetic. The other woman marches toward me, and my free hand instinctively moves to hold her hand just before the palm reaches my cheek. I will not tolerate any insults toward the queen. A soft light emanates from the pendant, and I can only stare at it in shock. I got another good deed? By defending Ophelia? The woman snatches her hand away. How dare a peasant like you talk that way to us? Have you no manners? I could ask you the same. What happened to yours? How dare you? Don't you know who we are, girl? I will see you pay for your impertinence. Our words have far more weight than yours ever will. I'd go to the king myself and tell him about how rude you were. And some voice says I can pass on that message myself. It's Rod. I turn and see Rod walking toward us, his expression cold. The two noblewomen hastily curtsy. Your Highness. The noblewomen turn pale as Rod's eyes fall on them. Actually, we have an important dinner engagement. Yes, we do. The two noblewomen curtsy before quickly departing. What are you doing here without your guards? What trouble have you gotten yourself into now? And this is the do not tell him one, right? I keep hitting that. Do not tell him, then explain, and then tell him off. Okay, so we're supposed to lie again, because that's the right choice for a happy ending, apparently. So, we're not telling him. It's nothing. You refuse to tell me what happened. I will have to assume that the noblemen were telling the truth about you. Nocturne has done nothing wrong. In fact, I think Nocturne only did what you or Emmeline would have done if you heard the awful things the women were saying about your mother. What? She stood up for the queen when she didn't have to. Then why didn't you just say so? Would you have believed me? Rod drops his gaze from mine. You never gave me the chance to believe you, did you? But apparently this is the right option, guys. He would have believed me? How am I to know that? Rod is like a walking contradiction. No shit. Rod glances up again, this time to look at Viorica. We shouldn't keep you from returning home, Viorica. I'll take Nocturna back to the palace. Viorica's eyes narrow, and she looks ready to say something, but Rod has already reached out for my hand to pull me along behind him. Okay, I still haven't seen the indicator. Isn't this chapter 7? Do not tell him. That's supposed to be the right answer. I don't see no indicator, though. When we are out of sight of Viorica's shop, Rod stops, releasing my hand as he turns to face me. Did you really think I'd refuse to believe you if you told me the truth? You never liked me. You have no reason to believe me. Rod sighs, running a hand through his hair. I told you that I would help break your curse, right? That offer alone should be enough for you to know that I... Rod turns away, suddenly looking embarrassed. Do you see how long that freaking took? That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Oh my goodness. You see how long that took? That's ridiculous. I don't know why that just went away. I told you to help you break curse, right? Well, offer alone should be enough for you to know that I... Rod turns away, suddenly looking embarrassed. I don't dislike you anymore. You're expecting me to just assume that? How would I know unless you made that absolutely clear? Well, I'm making it clear now. I understand. Anyway, thank you for standing up for my mother. It seems like you don't require my assistance in breaking your curse after all. He gestures to my necklace. Congratulations on your second good deed, Nocturna. Suddenly tongue-tied, I find myself looking everywhere but at Rod. When I have once again gathered my senses, I turn to the road. My eyes narrow as I recognize the path we're on. This is not the way back to the palace. No, it isn't. We're going to the Marchen. Will Karma be there? Why? Because I was on my way there before I was forced to take a detour because someone was drawing attention to herself. What? But Rod ignores me and we walk the rest of the way to the Marchen in silence. Waltz is the only person in the reception room when we enter. Prince Rod. Princess. It's a little late for the two of you to be here. I had meant to be here earlier. Is Lady Parfait here? Waltz nods. I'll go get her. Wait here. As soon as Waltz leaves us alone, Rod turns to me, its expression rigid. Rod steps closer and grabs my shoulders. What? Why are you up in my face, dude? I wasn't able to say so earlier because we were out in public, but you should know just how much danger you're in now, and yet you thought it was okay to go around on your own? It was my day off today. It's not unreasonable for me to want time to myself. Time to yourself. Don't you understand the meaning of be careful? Why would you do something as foolish as going out in town alone? I cannot help but bristle at his tone. Why are you so angry? Because you're... Rod trails off and looks away. Because you're family. So you're finally acknowledging me as family? I notice his cheeks turning red. To be honest, you're less of a family member and more just... important. Important. Because of all that you do for Emmeline. You're important to my sister. He looks uncomfortable as he says the words, and I cannot help but marvel at his embarrassment. Why is he so embarrassed? But Rod changes the topic as he turns away from me. Why were you with Viorica? I can only think of one reason you'd speak to her. My curse. You thought you'd find out about my curse through her? I shrug. I can only assume that your curse has something to do with Viorica. I look up when Rod says something, then stare at the curious sight before me. He has taken Sebi off his shoulder and is holding the doll in his hands away from his face. The two seem to be engaged in some silent conversation. Then gently, Sebi speaks words I can hear. This is the right thing to do. You need to let her help you, Rod. Rod bites down on his lower lip before briefly closing his eyes. Eventually he returns Sebi to his usual spot on his shoulder and turns to me. Fine, you're stubborn and you're not going to quit investigating unless I tell you, are you? You're right. Viorica is the reason I was cursed. Rod sits down in the settee and lets out a heavy sigh. His eyes are far away as he speaks to me. I was in love with Viorica, but I wasn't brave enough to tell her. I just followed her around like some kind of puppy. One day Viorica hadn't come home, and it was raining very heavily, so I went to look for her. I found her walking along the bank of a river. I called out to her to tell her to be careful, but I don't think she ever heard me. She slipped and... Rod swallows. He clenches one of his hands into a fist. She fell into the river. I dived in after her, somehow managed to get both of us onto the riverbank, but it didn't look like Viorica was breathing. I didn't know what to do. I started panicking. I ran off to try and find help, but I couldn't find anyone in the storm. When I returned, she was gone. I rushed to her house, and a doctor was already there tending to her, along with Decimond. Rod's gaze is vacant as he nods. When Viorica began to fall in love with Decimond, I felt helpless. Did you not tell her that you were the one that saved her? Why would I? Viorica was so happy believing that she and Decimond were fated to be together, I couldn't do that to her. But surely, if you told her... Rod interrupts me. I want the people I love to be happy. I don't care if their happiness causes me pain. I'd rather bear that alone instead of bringing down those around me. My chest aches as I watch Rod's face. I never would have guessed that Rod would be so... selfless. But that didn't stop me from thinking that I could still make her love me instead. I decided to become what I thought Viorica wanted most, the Prince Charming of the fairy tales she so adored. And so I asked a witch to turn me into one. She stole my voice in exchange. Only then did I realize that she had inflicted the fairy tale curse upon me, the mermaid's curse. The next day the king turned up at our house proclaiming that he'd been looking for my mother for years, and that he'd never stopped loving her. Okay, so... he made a wish, and that's the only reason my dad married his mom? Am I following this, Neil? Oh, okay. Interesting. When the king married my mother, I became a prince. It was just as the witch promised. But it didn't matter. I didn't see it when I made the deal with the witch, but I couldn't be blind to it forever. Decimond and Viorica really do love each other. They make each other happy. Nothing I can do will ever change that. Rod, Prince Rod. Ugh. Parfait pauses in her tracks when she sees me. Have I interrupted something? No. Rod moves over to Parfait, but he stops to glance back at me. I won't be long. Parfait looks at Rod and then at me, her face puzzled, but she does not say a word as Rod and her leave the room. Okay. I did not get the chance to discuss Rod's curse with him later that night, nor did I get the chance to speak with Parfait and to Laura about my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. Days go by, but still I find myself overwhelmed by preparations for the ball. Things become more frantic every day, making it difficult for me to have any time to speak with anyone. Eventually, I decide to write a letter containing my suspicions to Sir Alcaster. I tell Parfait and Delora that I believe he might be the witch they are looking for. I also add that I believe Fritz might somehow be involved, though my suspicions are not as well founded with him. To make matters worse, he went and disappeared. I've not heard anyone mention his name here for a very long time. I am forcefully pulled from my thoughts when I collide with someone. The linens I had been holding scatter over the floor. Excuse me, I did not... I look up and my voice trails off when I see who I bumped into. Lost in your thoughts. Sir Mithras looks at me, something veiled in his smiling eyes. I suppose those are the linens the Queen asked for? Yes, please excuse me. I begin gathering up the linens, but as I reach out for one, Sir Mithras picks it up first. Allow me to help you. I'll be fine. But this was partially my fault. Let me assist you. I bite my lip and do not protest as Sir Mithras helps me gather the rest of the linens. I'm contemplating my schedule for the rest of the day when I realize that Sir Mithras has been talking. I don't suppose you have any idea on who that maid is. Maid? There's a cold amusement in Sir Mithras' gaze. Surely you've heard the rumor of the young prince having been seen with a royal maid somewhere around town. Rumor has it the Prince Rod has found love among the common folk, much like his royal stepfather has. Rod with a maid? As far as I'm aware, the only maid he's been out in town with has been... I freeze as Sir Mithras straightens, patting down his clothes for dust before holding out some linens to me. If it is true, I wish him the best, though I wish he would be more discreet about it. A real scandal's the last thing we need right now. I shakily take the linens from Sir Mithras as he inclines his head to me. Have a good day, Nocturna. I walk to the dining hall in a haze, my mind whirling with the implications of what Sir Mithras just said. I'm sure it was those noblewomen who spread this rumor. Ah, Nocturna, thank you for bringing these to me. Just leave them on the table. Why am I bringing linens to the dining room? Aren't linens usually bed sheets? But okay, fine, whatever. I curtsy after placing the linens down. Okay, if that is all... Nocturna. I straighten at the tone of Ophelia's voice and I look up to see that her expression is carefully still. I'm about to ask you something you might not want to answer, but I very much hope you will. I'll answer if I can. Good. Ophelia sighs. She sits down on one of the dining table chairs and folds her hands in her lap. I've been trying to ignore it since palace gossip is mostly false, but I can't help my curiosity. I wanted to ask you about your relationship with my son. What? I understand you and Rod were out together in town a few days ago. Do you want to tell me what happened? Okay, and this is where you're supposed to explain the situation, I guess? If Ophelia is asking me about these rumors, then I can only imagine what sort of story those women made up. Prince Rod was just on his way somewhere when he chanced upon me. When he saw that I was in trouble with two noblewomen, he stopped to intervene, that's all. Rod said the same thing. Then why did you ask me, Your Majesty? To see what you thought about the situation. I don't think anyone should get a say in what your relationship with Rod is. My relationship with Rod? I like you, Nocturna. I'm certain that you're good for Rod. If I had my way, I'd let him court you. I feel heat in my cheeks as I trip over my words. The prince and I are not in a relationship. Remember, the royal family cannot end up with a servant. Where there's love, there's hope. Social status shouldn't stop you from being happy, Nocturna. Then what about the fact that I'm Rod's stepsister? I bite down on that statement fiercely. I already know what role I am playing here, and I cannot break it. Ophelia looks at me with a complicated expression before she sighs. I will not push you on this any further. But be careful, Nocturna. Your closeness with my son and daughter has not gone unnoticed. I do not believe in limiting relationships because of one's status, but I understand. I curtsy as I move towards the dining hall's entrance. What did Ophelia mean by that closeness not going unnoticed? Later that day, as I'm waiting outside the throne room for Emmeline to finish one of her classes, two maids walk toward me and stop in front of me. Nocturna, isn't it? What is it? I've already finished all my tasks for the day. I'm sure you have. Probably rushed through all of them so that you could hang out with the prince and princess tonight. The head housekeeper's been giving you a lighter load so you can afford time to play around, I blink at them, confused. I have no idea what you're talking about. Don't play dumb. All the servants know what you've been doing. Just because you're Princess Emmeline's personal maid doesn't make you better than the rest of us. I'd be careful not to get too big for your boots, Nocturna. Are you threatening me? what if we are? Then I'd be very disappointed in you, a voice says. It's Emmeline. Princess Emmeline. Emmeline moves to stand beside me, a disapproving expression on her face. I didn't expect such petty cruelty from the two of you. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Your Highness. You really do have a talent for getting yourself into trouble. Rod. Rod pauses briefly, his eyes meeting mine for a second before he looks at the maids. Don't you have better things to do than bully my sister's maid? We apologize, Your Highness. We'll be on our way. The two maids run off. Emmeline turns to look at me. Are you okay? I'm about to answer when I notice that Rod is abruptly walking away from us, a frown at his back. I frown at his back. He'd only just started being nice to me, and now he's back to acting as if I do not exist. What did I do? Emmeline puts her hands on my back and gently pushes me forward. You wanted to ask him something, right? I could see it in your eyes. Emmeline smiles as she pushes the door to the front room open. I have a few more questions to ask my teacher. I'll be a while. But she disappears into the throne room before I can finish. I glance down the hallway. Rod just disappeared down, and then back at the throne room. My thoughts whirl together in a vague mess until I make my decision. Wait. At the sound of my approaching footsteps, Rod turns and looks at me. He scowls but does not say anything. Yeah, I'm gonna save, but I also want to look at the log here. Before I can finish, glance in the hallway, Rod just disappeared and back to the throne room. Okay, so I'm supposed to tell him off, apparently, because that's how you get the happy ending, by telling people off. The words spill out of me before I can even think on them. What have I done now to make you angry with me? Nothing. He turns away and I glare as I follow closely behind him. You expect me to believe that? You can at least look at me when I'm talking to you. I reach out a hand to his elbow and pull him back so that he's facing me. Rod. But the words die in my throat when I see the expression on his face. His face is red and he refuses to look me in the eye. My surprise causes me to release him. Rod quickly turns around and begins to walk away. I must have stared dumbly after him. How is this the right choice? What is wrong with him? Normally he's not so afraid to speak as mine. I frown as I feel a dull ache throbbing somewhere deep in my chest. What is this? Why do I feel so sad? Normally Rod's distance does not make me feel like this. And yet now, am I really so sad that he does not want to speak with me? I shake my head and take a deep breath to still my mind. How is it the right choice? Whatever. It's better not to think about it. Maybe this walkthrough is just trolling me. These aren't the right choices at all. Chapter 8. The Ball. Oh my goodness, I don't know if my voice can last another hour and a half. Okay, so we're on Chapter 8 now. Plead, warn, and ... Okay. It is the day of the ball, and I'm waiting for Emmeline to finish her last dance rehearsal. The lesson was over an hour ago, but Emmeline remains here to continue practicing the steps. Meanwhile, I'm preoccupied with thoughts of Rod's curse. I cannot believe that Rod traded his voice for a title, so the reason the king was able to find Ophelia was because of Rod. It's a little difficult to wrap my head around the implications, but one thing bothers me. Rod told me why he has the curse, but he gave no explanation as to how to break it. How did it go in the original fairy tale? Emmeline finishes up the last steps of her routine before walking over to me. I hand her the glass of water I was holding for her. Thank you, Nocturna. Emmeline must notice my curiosity because she stops to look at me quizzically. Is something the matter? I read a little bit of that fairy tale but never finished it. Can you tell me the whole story of the Little Mermaid? The Little Mermaid? Emmeline takes a seat on one of the chairs bordering the throne room and gestures for me to take the one opposite her. Telling fairy tales is always a good way to wind down. Once upon a time, there was a mermaid that fell in love with a handsome prince. One day, when she swam to the surface of the ocean to find him, she saw that the prince was celebrating his birthday on the grandest ship in the kingdom. The little mermaid was captivated by the human party and stayed to watch. Then suddenly a violent storm hit and the prince was thrown from the ship into the ocean. The little mermaid saved the prince and took him safely to shore, But she could not stay long. She eventually had to return to the ocean and leave him on land. This is similar to Viorica's rescue. Oh my goodness. I don't have to get out of cough drop, but I might have to. The little mermaid was so in love with the prince that she went to see a witch who offered to trade her a potion that would turn her mermaid's tail into legs. They struck a deal. The mermaid sacrificed her beautiful voice for legs so that she could live with the prince on land. So in Rod's case, he traded away his voice to become a prince. However, the sea witch gave the little mermaid a warning and said that if she wasn't able to make the prince fall in love with her, there would be consequences. Consequences? Yes, namely, if the prince fell in love and married someone else, the mermaid's heart would break and she would dissolve into sea foam. I couldn't help but recoil. My expression must betray my horror because Emmeline quickly shakes her head. There's no need to be worried. Rod said that his curse is different from the fairy tale. And you believe him. Emmeline shrugs helplessly as she puts down her now empty glass of water. The fairy tale curse always twists the original fairy tale, right? Besides, it's not as if Rod traded his voice for legs, and I've never heard of a cursed person that dies because they cannot break their curse. That may be true, but Emmeline does not know what Rod traded his voice for. She does not know that he did it to become prince for Viorica. Rod is already hiding things from her. Is it possible that Rod will die the day Viorica marries Desmond? Okay. Guess we know how the bad ending is going to go. I mean, I would say, no, that couldn't possibly happen, but they wouldn't actually kill a love interest, would they? But I saw Karma's bad ending. And, actually somebody died in his good ending, too. So, you know. Anyway. Later that day, I find Rod... God, my voice is going. Later that day, I find Rod in the dining hall. He appears to be inspecting the seating arrangements for the night's banquet. He glances up briefly to look at me before returning his attention to the placards with the guest's name on them. What is it? I've been looking for you all morning. I'm distracted from what I'm about to say when I notice Rod switching the position of two placards. I frown as I catch the name on one of them. He's moving Viorica's place at the table. Is he trying to make sure she sits as far away from him as possible? Surely you've better things to do than stay in here. What happens if you can't break your curse? Rod's movements stutter before he shakes his head sharply. That is something you do not need to know. We're supposed to plead with him, right? Plead with him, warn Emmeline, and ... Something aches deep in my chest at Rod's coldness. Please. Rod startles so strongly that he almost drops the placard he's holding. Please tell me. We've been partners for months now, but I've barely... Yes, I know that it is an unusual partnership, and that most of our helping each other has been subtle, but I'm only one good deed away from breaking my curse, while you seem to be no closer to breaking your curse than when we started. I will do whatever I can to help you with your curse, Rod. So please let me help you. Silence falls. Moments later, Rod sighs and looks away from me. Some unspeakably sad emotion shines through his eyes. Even if I wanted your help, Nocturna, there's nothing you can do. Dread settles in the pit of my stomach at Rod's words. Could I be right? Will Rod actually die if he does not manage to break his curse? Emmeline told me the story of the Little Mermaid. She said that the mermaid dies if the prince marries somebody else. Rod, when Viorica marries Desmond, will you... My voice trails off when I hear the sound of the door behind us. Is it Ophelia or the king? Rod rushes forward and grabs me before I can glance back at the door. Ow. I become aware of a weight holding me down to the floor. The impact of the ground against my head blurs my vision, making it impossible for me to see what is happening at first. Am I underneath the dining table? I struggle to try and sit up, but the weight pushes down on me again, forcing me to be still. Quiet. Rod, why did he push me underneath the table? I'm about to ask him when the sound of the footsteps silences me. I cannot help but remember what Sir Mithras was saying about rumors. If Rod and I were seen alone together by the servants, the rumors will no doubt get worse. But why is Rod doing this? I stay quiet as the people that enter the dining hall begin to talk. How strange for How strange for this place to be empty at this time of day. There is a pause, and then another voice speaks up. You better have good news for me, Mithras. Sir Alcaster and Sir Mithras? Rod's hands tighten on my shoulders. Everything is as you requested, Sir Alcastra. There should be no issues. There better not be. You disappointed me before, Mithras. I'd be careful not to try my patience again. Yes, Sir Alcastra. Sir Mithras sounds oddly subservient. But why? The two of them are both ranked equally, and neither of them should have to answer to anyone other than the king. Unless Sir Alcastra truly is the witch and is forcing Sir Mithras to obey him with a spell. Wait a few minutes after I leave. We should not be seen together. I do not hear Sir Mithras respond, but I can hear Sir Alcastra leaving the room. Sir Mithras sighs out, but is otherwise silent when he leaves the room after a few moments. Oh my goodness, guys. I am getting really tired now. That's what happens to me every time that there's nobody chatting. I just get so tired that I can barely even keep my eyes open. So that's why I always say, please chat, guys. Please chat. It helps keep me awake, keeps me motivated, keeps my energy up. But when there's nobody talking, I can barely keep my eyes open. But anyway, yeah. Plus I'm getting hungry now too, because I ate at 8:30 or so, and as you can see, it's 1 o'clock now. So anyway, I exhale fully as the door closes behind Sir Mithras. This is bad. I have so engrossed in Sir Alcastra and Sir Mithras' conversation that I only just now realized that Rod is hovering over me. Is there something for that? No. Hey, are you alright? Are you hurt? You look a little... Rod suddenly pauses and notices our positions. He stares at me for a few moments, eyes wide. He scrambles up from underneath the dining table, and by the time I do the same, he's standing far away from me, his gaze fixed on the wall. He's bright red. It would be funny if I weren't sure I was the same color. Rod clears his throat. It seems that Sir Alcastra really is the witch if he has the ability to make Sir Mithras obey him. Lady Parfait should be told immediately. Rod turns in his heel to leave the dining room. Okay, let me look at this. I've been getting so distracted and so tired. I'm missing stuff. Disappoint me before. I'd be careful not to try my patience again. Everything's as you requested. There should be no issues. Better not be. Disappointed me before. Yes, Sir Alcastra. Wait a few minutes after I leave. Not be seen together. Okay. Rod turns on his heel to leave the dining room. Rod, wait. What? This is urgent, Princess. I can't just... When Viorca marries Desmond, will you die? Rod pauses for a minute, but I can tell from his pained expression that he will not speak. You're running out of time, Rod. My eyes flit between Sebi and Rod. What does that mean? Nothing. He turns away from me once again and starts walking away. Rod! There must be something in my voice that makes Rod stop because he turns to look at me. Please stop running away from this. What would knowing the answer achieve, Nocturna? I'm about ready to get out another snack. Getting so hungry. But anyway, what would knowing the answer achieve, he says. Don't mind me. I have to find some chocolate or something. Okay. Maybe the chocolate will wake me up, right guys? Oh, gosh. I'm just really feeling how tired I am right now. Though Rod's words are harsh, his tone is soft. There's nothing anyone can do. Leave it alone, Nocturne. It's for the best. I cannot help but get mad at Rod's dismissive tone. I move toward him, frowning. How can you say something like that? You're not the only person that will be affected if you keep refusing to do anything to break your curse. Sorry, still dealing with my snack. It's really hard to eat and stream at the same time. I hate doing it. Can you imagine what your death would do to your sister, to your mother? Losing you would destroy them. Rod's face is suddenly inches away from mine. He places his hands to the wall behind me, caging me in. His face is flushed with anger, with the look in his eyes is tormented. My family has been dealing with the consequences of my actions for the majority of my life. Don't think that I don't know what effect my curse has on the people closest to me. Besides, I don't want to involve you in this too. His voice is a whisper, but I can still hear his words. Rod pushes away from me and stalks off as I stare after him. He says that, but he still does nothing to try and break his curse. I do not understand him at all. What's stopping him? Maybe it's something like somebody else will die or something. I don't know. Rod is absent from the palace for the rest of the day and returns only once the sun has set to prepare for the ball. I've not been able to talk to him since, but I assume that he has been to the marsh end to tell Delore and Parfait about our suspicions of Sir Alcester being a witch. I hope they come up with an effective plan for dealing with him. The palace is not safe so long as he's here. The ball is just about to start that evening, and I've been asked to make sure none of the guests are lost and wandering the hallways. I've been walking around for a while, directing any late guests in the right direction. That should be everyone. But as I turn the corner, I notice two people lingering by a column. Excuse me, the throne room is... I pause and look more closely at the two men in front of me. I recognize one of them instantly. Oh god, it's Alcester. What is Sir Alcester doing outside the throne room? And who's that man he's with? Nocturno. Sir Alcester gestures me toward him, and I approach warily. This is Varg. He's one of the guests for the ball. Varg slips aside his cape as he bows, and I curtsy and dip my head to hide my expression. I've not heard of a Varg, and why would he be bowing to a mere maid? Also, why is he wearing such an elaborate costume and mask? This is not a masquerade ball. If a Varg is an acquaintance of Sir Alcester, there's no telling what or who he truly is. Varg is one of the suitors for Princess Emmeline. Would you please escort him to the throne room? I'll be along shortly. Varg's politeness is even more suspicious. Of course, Sir Alcester. I meet Varg's gaze briefly, and cannot help but frown at the way he's smirking at me. This way. Varg and I make our way toward the throne room. I cannot help but feel wary of the fact that he is following behind me, where I cannot see him. If the maids are this lovely, the princess must be truly beautiful. Varg laughs and I grit my teeth at the sound. What? It was meant as a compliment. There's no need to look at me like that. Varg looks at me curiously. Are maids not allowed to speak in this place? I have nothing to say. Not the most cheerful person on staff, are you? Thankfully, the doors to the throne room appear as soon as we turn a corner, and I do not have to come up with a response to his words. We are here. I gesture toward the throne room and move to leave, but Varg's voice stops me. You should at the very least escort me inside and introduce me to the princess, don't you think? Isn't that what a maid should do? Technically, that is the announcer's job. But Varg came so late, he probably already missed the introductions. I wouldn't want to think badly of any of the servants at this palace. I take a deep breath to calm myself down before turning toward the doors. Follow me. I can tell the moment I step into the room that the official introductions have already passed. Most of the guests have already begun to mingle and scatter across the throne room as the band sets up. No one notices when I walk into the throne room in front of Varg. I do not trust Varg, not if he's associated with Sir Alcester. I might have time to warn someone about him while he's distracted, but who? Okay, so I guess this is where I'm supposed to warn Emmeline? My attention is quickly drawn to where Emmeline is moving between groups of people, introducing herself and making light conversation. Sorry guys, I just had some chocolate and now I need some water. Because if I drink my soda after chocolate, it'll taste gross and disgusting. That's why I have water here too. See, I plan ahead, damn it. But anyway. I know this will be frowned upon, but Emmeline's safety must come first. I make my way quickly over to Emmeline and curtsy just off to the side, trying to draw as little attention to myself as possible. Princess Emmeline, may I have a word? Emmeline is clearly shocked at my intrusion, but she masks it well. Now, I'm thinking we're pretty close to the end of the story. As I said, I've only done Karma's Path. But judging by where Karma's Path ends, and who's there, and the location and everything, I'm thinking this might be close to the end of Rod's path. But I don't know. Okay, so anyway, Emily's clearly shocked by my intrusion, but she masks it well. Excuse me, it appears my maid has something for me. I draw her close to the walls where the crowd blocks us from view. I wasn't expecting you to be here, Nocturna. Not that I mind, but won't you get into trouble? There's no time for that. I take her hand in mine and look at her somberly. You have to watch out for this man in the mask. Mr. Alcester brought him to the ball. Why should I be worried then? I cannot exactly tell her that I think he's a witch right now. There are too many people looking. Just please be wary of him. I'm sure there's nothing to be worried about from anyone here, Nocturna, especially if Sir Alcester is involved. Yep, the Stits don't know a thing. On the contrary, if Sir Alcester is involved, I'd also recommend staying on your guard, Emmeline. Rod? I turn shocked to see Rod suddenly standing beside me. You should trust Nocturna. Really? Okay. How he's changed his ways here. Anyway, Varg says, excuse me. I jump back at the sound of Varg's voice. Rod takes a step forward and places his hands on my shoulders to steady me. I don't believe we've been introduced. Varg looks at me for a few moments, but I say nothing. He eventually turns to Emmeline, a wolfish smile on his face. My name is Varg. Wolfish? Varg? Which is awfully close to Warg. And you must be Princess Emmeline. The tales of your beauty did not do you justice. Really? She looks kind of derpy to me, but whatever. Emmeline flushes as Varg reaches for her hand. He presses a kiss to the back of it, still grinning. I can feel Rod tense behind me. May I have the first dance? Emmeline bites down on her lower lip as she stares at him. I become acutely aware of just how quiet the throne room has become. She cannot refuse him with so many people watching her. I feel sick but cannot bring myself to say anything more as Emmeline puts her hand in Varg's. I accept, Lord Varg. The moment Emmeline makes her way to the center of the dance floor, a man signals to the band and the musicians start playing. Is it the Rains of Castamere? Yeah. This feels wrong. I can only nod as I watch Varg pull Emmeline closer. At first, it is just he and Emmeline dancing, but then other couples gradually trickle in to join them. I do not like this at all. Rod and I watch in silence as the first dance continues on. I know for a fact that Rod must see the dreamy smile on Emmeline's face as certainly as I can. When the music stops, both of us move as one toward Emmeline. Even though the dance is over and Varg has released her, they still stand close together at the center of the room. The silence is interrupted when the double doors open and Sir Alcester, along with two knights, stalk into the center of the room where Emmeline and Varg stand. Their arrival causes an uneasy stir in the crowd. The king rises from his throne, eyebrows frown. Alcester, is there some kind of disturbance? Alcester says nothing as the knights stationed around the room approach Emmeline, and Varg stand around them, encircling them. Actually, there was something else that happened before this part in Karma's Path. And that hasn't happened yet in this version, as far as I know. So we'll see. Emmeline's expression shifts from confusion to fear. The crowd becomes even more anxious. Alcaster, explain this. Alcaster briefly glances at him but says nothing. He turns back to his knights and snaps his fingers. The knights pull out their swords and point them at Emmeline. Em! I reach out to grab Rod's hand before he can make his way toward her. Rod, it's too dangerous. I know, but thoughtless actions have the potential to put Emmeline in even more danger. Rod's only response is to tighten his grip on my hand. I place my other hand over his to reassure him, and slowly but surely his grip begins to loosen. I turn my gaze back to the king. Alcaster, stop this immediately. What do you think you're doing? Something I should have done a long time ago. I've been nothing but loyal to this kingdom, and all I have ever wanted was for Angiel to thrive. But ever since the queen died, the kingdom has become weak. It's because you are weak. A weak ruler, Gennaro. What? The people were more productive back then, more disciplined during their late queen's reign. The kingdom has become less productive without fear to drive them. When there is power, there is order. Power is not something that should be needlessly used to control people. It's used to protect them. You, of all people, should know that. Sir Alcaster shakes his head. I, of all people, know that the order is what makes the hierarchy stronger. I'm only doing what is necessary. I'm reorganizing the system. Hand over the crown, Gennaro. Sir Alcaster turns his head to Varg, who remains standing beside a scared Emmeline. Oh my gosh, guys. Ugh! I wanted to go another hour, but man, I'm having a lot of trouble keeping up any energy. You'll obey me if you don't want your precious daughter harmed. Please leave my daughter out of this. Emmeline steps back, her eyes now brimming with tears. Varg, seize the princess. As soon as Sir Alcaster gives the order, Rod immediately lets go of my hand and rushes toward his sister. Rod, no! I quickly follow after him, but Rod suddenly stops in his tracks. I bump abruptly into his back. Rod? Varg? Sir Alcaster's booming voice echoes around the room, which has suddenly gone eerily silent. My eyes move to Varg, but he's standing motionless. What's happening? Finally, Varg smirks. He steps to the side, standing in front of Emmeline, as if to block her from view. Sir Varg, you must be delusional, old man. I'm not letting you anywhere near the princess. The knight's next movements are a blur as they rush at Sir Alcaster. In mere moments, he has been disarmed and pinned to the ground. Several more knights have also appeared from behind to surround Sir Alcaster. Okay, this is going differently than it went in the other path. I mean, I guess it should, but